that's wrong. Oh, Jay. There we go. That's right. You putting in Discord? Because my Discord's already up on my laptop, so I got to bring it back up on this machine.
Okay, what's the easiest way to get
That's
it?
the easiest way to do it, because I don't want to open up my email.
Okay, I got to find it real fast. This shouldn't take me long.
All right, I got it open up on my side screen here, so we're good. Let's see. Well, Glenn, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I'll be known as Glenn now and not Asher's brother. Actually, I'll still probably be known as Asher's brother.
You probably will be still, so that's okay.
Let's see if I can find it. I have one of my characters that Greyhawk Mike drew for me.
Oh, cool.
Not because he thought it was the coolest thing in the world, but because I won a caption contest.
Oh, you're putting up Theodora?
Yeah, if I can find it. I'm trying to remember where I put it. I think that might be under Greyhawk characters. That's where it is.
Still no shadows.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
It is. But I'll make do with that. I mean, the auto ones were working, but the ones where we prompt, even if you manually typed it in, aren't working, and that's annoying.
Oh, I actually had it under Glenn's campaign.
Because it was in Glenn's campaign.
It was.
My shortest campaign.
We had a couple in there. We couldn't see it.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live. Well, I mean, we're live
Right.
with Preludes up. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I just saw it come across. So, all right. Oh, cool. Now,
See if you'll recognize this person right away.
make sure I see it. Should be somewhere. Cool. Okay. Well, I'm still looking up. My cohorts in crime are not on yet, either one. So
Yeah,
they're
10 till.
Don't say they're getting lazy. I'm allowed to say that.
It's your show.
That's right.
They are just co-hosts.
They're just. There comes Mike. Mike beat Anna. There's Mike.
Hey, Mike. He's playing in a game on Greyhawk with Mike on last night. No, Monday night.
Rich's game?
Yep.
Seems like yesterday.
He's reached full Cuisinart powers.
That's cool.
And what do you Cuisinart first? A salad. So yeah, we were facing Shambling Mounds.
Nice. Very cool. Here, I'll send out Anna a push. All right. It's like, what button next? What button next? There we go. Get 10 minutes. Plus, we probably gotta have 2 raids coming in, probably Blue Box and Mike Disney, so that'll pop in another. Yeah. A lot of people are watching there right now.
Yeah, I saw Blue Box was starting. I was like, I should check that out. And I'm like, I got a lot of things going on here. I should probably just skip it this week.
Got a Portrait Works giveaway tomorrow night. You got the program, right?
I do have it. I haven't had a chance to make use of it yet. I've just been busy.
I know you won it once, so.
I did. but I've got it on my phone, my new phone, and I just haven't had a chance to really put it to work. I made sure it was working, and then I haven't been using it. I've got plenty of NPCs I need to make pictures of, though, so I will put it to work. But none of them are dragon people or cat people.
Right. Hey,
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
How many are actual dragons?
it's a program for the masses, so it does a lot of things. I even am able to get with regular clothing and make the BattleTech guys characters, make portraits.
Hello, Anna.
Hello. Sorry, I'm late. Yep.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. Red Falls is mostly humans, some dwarves, and a few elves. No half-orcs. It's funny, I was looking through some of Greyhawk Grognard's stuff, and he had a lot of the old armies of Greyhawk, and it was funny because he had like the Highlander castles with only like 10 people in them each, 10, 15 people in them each. I was like, what the heck? And then I had to read it further, and it's like, oh, this was when they went to war, and he says they stripped the castles of like everybody. I was like, how the hell are they going to hold the... It's because at that point they had the orcs, so the Bone March was marching side by side with them. Now they're defending against them. Has Bill built this one yet? The lighthouse?
We used it.
I thought you did. I thought you did in one of the Hardby fight episodes. You had two lighthouses, right?
I had the Blue Bay, the one that Patrick made up, that town.
That's right. It was Blue Bay.
Yeah, and there's actually 2 lighthouses in there. I used it. The terrain was different, but I used it for both. And we got Jeremy sent us that just so because he wanted us to promote it before the Kickstarter was over. So he sent it to us. We got the first copy, and then Bill did it up.
Did Bill print it, or did he send you the?
No, Jeremy, Gamescape 3D actually printed that one for us.
Oh, okay. That's a time saver.
Oh yeah. So we usually get we get 3D print care packages from him a fair amount, which is great. He's
awesome.
Great sponsor. I mean, he's the one that gave me the signed first edition player's handbook too.
Yep.
Last year he gave me the sealed Feast of the Grab box set to give away during the fundraiser. So yeah, he's great guy. So I got some announcements, quickie too. We'll see. I think when the raid comes in, I may.
Yep, it's your show.
We're good.
After Rich's last show, we kind of took some initiative. So after Rich's last show, there was some discussion in the Cannon Fire Discord about, hey, we should ask some standard questions. And we kind of scooped those up, and I said, hey, prepare your answers to these questions, and I did the same.
Cool.
So we have like 6 or 7 questions that I can share with you if you didn't scrape them, or other folks who present their Greyhawks.
And welcome Mike and Tara from Terra and everyone else, T-Cat and all coming in on the raid. I'll cut that short because Chuck still hasn't given me the codes from Sunday night, so I'm a little perturbed at him. So there you go. I'll cut that short.
Yeah, and thank you for the person who gave me the sub to Mike when I was setting up. When I was setting up, because you were streaming him, I think, or somebody gifted me a sub. So
Mike, you're good, man. Yeah, absolutely went through. Really appreciate it. We got a great discussion tonight. I hope this is correct. No, it's wrong too. You know what? I must have been like on the pipe weed or something. I must have been on something. There we go. I fixed it. And they're all wrong. Oh my gosh. I apologize. My gosh. Well, there. There are Earth journals surrounding it, so we'll skip this. Oh my God!
I read the Earth Journal.
We all do. Yeah.
We're gonna come live a few minutes early here. How's that sound?
I am a Prince subscriber.
Oh my gosh! I'm smoking something. Good evening, everyone. So we have a nice even four in the chat tonight. I'm Jake Hilor-Gazumba. Thank you for coming in, Mike. Thanks for the raid, and thank you for everyone who came in with Mike. Please note that I'm trying to solve my shout out issue because once again now Streamlabs is my Stream Deck's working, but Streamlabs isn't. So watch when I do this, it doesn't. Oh, it is. No, it didn't.
See?
It didn't shut.
You
No, it
solved
didn't.
it.
It didn't.
Yeah.
No, that's
Okay,
something
good.
different. That's the auto thing. It's still not working. So another mess up with this. So with me tonight we got Mike Bridges and Anna Meyer joining as normal.
everybody.
But tonight we're talking My Greyhawk. This is the second one we're going to do, where a notable person from the campaign, from Cannon Fire, from the community, tells us about their Greyhawk in depth. And so tonight we have Dale and Glenn Gwill. Did I say the last name correctly?
Close enough. Yeah, it's
Quill.
like Quill, but with
Quill.
a G.
Okay, Gwill.
Well,
And we all know Dale by another name. And Dale, I have to ask this question right off the bat. How the hell did you come up with the name AshurtheBear?
It's Asher. It goes back to I was reading a book called The Assyrian by Nicholas Guild, and Asher was what they referred to as the god of Assyria, and it was what they called the land of Assyria. And at the same time, it was one of my favorite books, and at the same time I started playing EverQuest, and I needed a name for my barbarian shaman, and I chose Asher. And that worked, and later on, Asher became a polar bear in the game. So
Very cool.
that's my nom de plume was born. I am Asher the Bear, and that is to this day my EverQuest character is Asher the Bear.
Awesome.
Cool.
It goes all the way back to a Gary Con 3 years ago, where in a giveaway I said that live, and like
The
Brian
Asher
Blumfox
Bear.
was laughing.
Yeah.
He said, Asher the Bear.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't realize what I was saying. So, and Glenn, welcome. So, we got a brother duo tonight, and we're going to
Yes.
talk about.
We are twin
Welcome.
brothers. We're fraternal, but there is some resemblance, especially as we get older. We start to look more and more like our dads.
Very cool. Amy says that she always wondered where that name came from, and now you know. So,
Yeah.
Now you know. So
we're going to have some fun discussing this tonight. But before that, show you a couple things here. I got this in, and this contains, and I can't unroll them. This contains 6 signed Larry Elmore prints for the fundraiser. Okay, so
did he hook you up again?
yes, I asked.
Right.
I asked.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
thanks, Winnie. Yes,
Hey, did it work?
including one of the most legendary ones I can say of all time. I look for there's 3 Dragonlance ones. I asked for them, but let me go here, including this one, which I think is the pinnacle of dragon covers. Yeah, this one right here. Evelyn the Healer, that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that
got
one
it.
we got. There's going to be some Dragonlance. We got the Companions of the Lance one. This one's a legendary, Death of Sturm. I mean, my gosh, as Buildmaster Crafter pointed out, that never happens in the books, right? But it's a great piece. And then the other 2 are Crystal Shard one and 4 Women of Dragonlance. So we got 6 of them. They're awesome, aren't they? It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
So we have 8 or 9 sponsors now for it. Just want to let everyone know, and I'm putting together a sponsor banner for that, and that should be out by the weekend. I got one I'm waiting on to verify, but so we got, just so you know, Elmore, we got Stratagem, we got Reaper, we have Troller Games, we have Gaxworks, we have Cave Geek Art, we have Prayers and Riffs, we have 3D Gamescape 3D, Infinite Dimensions. We got so many sponsors for this, so I'm really excited. Look at that, almost a monster hype train. So let me go back to the screen here. I just wanted to announce that we've gotten a lot of really great things from all the sponsors. We're really excited about this year because we got to beat $20,540 somehow.
And what's the date of the
weekend of the 17th, 18th, and 19th. So let me throw this up here. Thank you for hitting that up, T-Cat, to get that hype train in. Here it is. And there are all the streams below. All their at plus 14 games from Greyhawk Reborn going across. You have Phoenix Iwaki, GM Workshop, Fable 42, Wily Hobbit, Prayers Rejects, Blue Box, Lord Gazumba, Troll Lord Games, Darling Creep Show, Superior Adventures Guild, and Phantom NJ all streaming. We have the only breaks I have is from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. each Friday night and Saturday night. That's it. 24-hour coverage almost 24-hour coverage for streamers for this. So it's gonna be awesome.
That's crazy.
Gonna be great.
Yeah.
Going to be
a lot of fun to play those games too.
Playing them and have some fun and DM them, and we're going to have some great things. More to come. More to come in the discussion. We'll have a full prelude show. Thank you. Already hopped over level 2. The giveaway tonight in honor of Dale is, and I prefer, is a giveaway of Sword and Sorcery / Necromancer Games classic reprints.
Yay!
Yeah, what I have left, I still have Abastor, which I cannot believe. We got Crucible of Freya. We got the Book of Taverns. What else I got here? I got. Why do I have Rapinathic 2? That's weird. Why would I have the second level only? That's bizarre. Don't know.
They printed it originally 3 sets of or 3 books.
Exactly, but I thought I had all 3 of them in that too. Thanks, Fuzz, and thank you all for hanging out and discussing a wonderful campaign. Yes, I got mine. I got mine. I don't have the City of Brass. I have all the other ones you put in that little listing, but I don't have the city. These are originals. Yeah. Yes, great stuff.
I actually had 2 of these for a brief moment, thanks to my friends. It was either this or the Wilderlands box set.
Oh,
it came out at Gen Con, and I had pre-ordered it, and I forgot I'd pre-ordered it, and I was going to pick it up at Gen Con, and they picked one up for me because I was sick and wasn't able to go.
Oh man!
And I had gotten one in the mail the same day, and I was like, "Oh, can you take it back? Like, you want another one?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want another one." Like an idiot, like. That thing won't shoot up in value, but anyway.
So, did Anna specifically update this area of the map just for you, or was that done generally, Anna? Because mine is different, so I'm going to go.
I updated that part up where I think you are going up there. Yeah, that one I did a major update. I've done 2 major updates since your map. So of this area. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm going to use this when we discuss this area specifically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So one was Gary Julian and me discussing a little bit, and I came up with some ideas and stuff in there. That's how the Usk Edge came to be, and so on. And then it was Dale and me. We chatted about his campaign, and I took notes and stuff. So that's when a lot of the other stuff came to be. So it's kind of a tripart and a little bit of adding things from notes that I had previously as well. So but Dale is a big input on this area for sure.
Fantastic. It's good to see. Good to see.
Yep.
It's just because all these baronies were not broken down on mine. So yeah, you're right. We got to do a map update. All right. So where do we begin here, Anna, Mike? Where are we going to begin with questions? Like,
first, I want to hear the general meaning. How long have you played in Greyhawk, and what was your initial meaning? When did it start becoming your own campaign, or did you start out just doing modules and so on? And why Greyhawk, so to speak? That is something I want to have answered.
All the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, Dale, go ahead.
I will start. So we were born in the late 60s, and, we heard about D&D in the late 70s, because we started hearing about it on the news and people started talking about it. So it was probably, I started seeing ads in magazines, and I actually ordered a TSR catalog by mail from an ad in the back of Boy's Life, the Boy Scout magazine.
Oh,
I actually sent them like
Wow.
a self-addressed stamped envelope, and then they just mailed me their own trifold thing anyways. And I ordered the basic set, because I sent them $20 cash in an envelope in the mail with a box checked, and got my thing. And I read the books. I was like, this is fascinating. I was like, Glenn, let's play this game. And we started playing it, got our sister to play it once or twice.
Yeah.
She made a dungeon once. It was hilarious because it was like there's 2 orcs guarding 50,000 gold pieces in jewelry.
Yes.
Description of the jewelry.
Cha-ching.
So anyways, we were playing, and then we went through In Search of Adventure B1, which is what they had in the Holmes box set, the big one with the red dragon on the cover. And it meant, and it mentions the world of Greyhawk, all caps. And we start, and in the catalog, they had a couple of the other ones, and then AD&D came out, and we were all over that. We were like, okay, Monster Manual, Player's Handbook, and then, of course, the DM's Guide. So we played, basic for a while, but then we got that mind-blowing Player's Handbook, and then we just we don't want to play basic D&D. We're ready for advanced
because you can
D&D.
get above 3rd level. That's why,
right?
Yeah.
But as for a campaign, I don't even think we thought that much about the meta setting at the time.
The closest we had to that was when we got T1, the Village of Hamlet. They have that map, the big map that's in the cardboard. And it's like uncompleted. There's the buildings that are there, and then they have the little dots for proposed castle and all this stuff. We literally just wrote our own stuff in on that map. And that was the closest we had to having characters that started, I'm going to build this castle here, and I'm going to do this thing here. So that was the closest we got to actually integrating into the world of Greyhawk, because, Hamlet is an iconic setting.
So you're like 12, 13 years old, like I was at the time.
Yeah, this is right around 1980, 81, just starting into high school. We're buying the modules as they come out, and running through them really quickly.
Wonderland stuff, Judges Guild stuff.
Oh yeah,
Dale with those really cool pebble stock maps.
Yeah. So
when did City State of the World Emperor and Invincible Overlord come out, Dale? Do you know the dates on that?
They were out before the Greyhawk.
79.
Yeah, they were in the late 70s, but I think we got them when we were in high school. And Dale loved that stuff. Well, I did too, just being into maps and stuff in general. It's like, oh, look at all this stuff. But, I would still just make up my own things, because you go buy for $1, you buy a giant 2-sided hex sheet at the hobby store, and then get out your crayons or markers or watercolors or something and just make a map, and then go, okay, we're going to play here. And then never use that again. And then next time we play, I'd get out a new map. So that's what I started doing through high school, was just making up my own worlds. And they weren't even used that much. They would just be used for like one little adventure. And then, I'd go to another one. But we did eventually kind of work through some of the Greyhawk iconic modules, just because they were there and they're fun, so.
It's what we did pre-1980. Like we ran G all the way through Q1, not Q1, G all the way through D3 before I even had my Greyhawk campaign, because they were out, right?
Yeah, they were out.
Yeah,
it's ready to go.
Yeah, before
and you would do it. So we ran through most of those at least.
Yep.
With various characters and taking turns DMing. Kind of thing.
Timolacon was out. A lot of stuff was out before.
White Plume Mountain was an old one. So
hey, there's Blue Box.
Yay, John!
Hello.
Hey guys.
Welcome.
Hello.
I gotta manually do this because my stupid shout outs. Go ahead, Dale. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that. So we played basically in Greyhawk, but then we would switch around. We would play some in the Wilderlands with characters, then we'd go play in Greyhawk, and then later in high school we started getting in other people's campaigns, and we found that there were other people playing these games other than us and our friends. And I was in one that was actually in the Wilderlands, so that was kind of fun for me. But then we we joined another homebrew campaign of somebody at Ohio State. And then finally, when we actually got to college, we ran into a bunch of friends that knew each other from the engineering dorms. And we got through them and through a mutual friend, Frank, we got into somebody's homebrew campaign and met the people that we still play weekly D&D with.
Yeah, so this was in 1986.
Yeah,
So-
1986.
Master Z, who's in chat, Z6388, one of them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
Yes,
Okay,
he is.
yeah, all
Yeah,
right,
he's the one who's currently DMing us in Age of Worms. So.
Great.
Cool.
Oh, he's
Which
the one
is-
that told you can't watch my streams because of.
Oh, that's fine.
But he watched it and then said it was fine. But he watched it and then said it was fine.
Well, he better not watch tomorrow night because I'm running the third part tomorrow night. So
That's all right. I don't like spoilers anyway, so
How many players you got?
I'm not tempted to go in. So
How many players in our group? Let's see. 10.
so
They're not
Yeah.
there all there every week, but 8 of us usually are.
yeah.
Oh wow.
So we have
in-person
the
games.
So
this is online.
Uh-huh.
We
Yeah.
traditionally played our weekly games in person at our friend's house, and when COVID hit, we obviously all for our families decided to stay away from each other and not get each other sick. And we had like 2 to 3 campaigns go on hiatus at that time. We had a monthly game that went on hiatus, and we had 2 other games go on hiatus.
I remember you talking about that because you were excited
So-
about getting back into the swing of it. Then COVID hit.
yeah.
One of our friends is
Yeah.
running his first campaign. He was running a Sir Savage Tide. We had just gotten our own ship and had gotten back to Sassarine when COVID hit. And then Mike and Glenn was running a campaign where I was playing Trebelos Boy Magician, a name
Yeah.
from the back of B1. And
Yeah. I was like, what?
Like half his characters are names from back of
yeah,
B1.
I keep going back to that one, and I'm like, I'm gonna play.
Wrong side.
Roll that 12-sided die, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I played like Lapoy, the Unexpected, who was like either an elf or a wizard. I can't remember, but he was an elf wizard when we played. But anyway, so all of those went on hiatus, and a good friend of ours, Ben, said, hey, let's try to run a game online. So it was our first dip into, so we run 3.5. That's our system of choice. So taking back to where we were playing, we played first edition. We played only
Whoa.
first edition
Yeah, we lost the 90s to Magic the Gathering.
Oh.
and
So,
other RPGs.
and we didn't- Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and we did play like some Vampire the Masquerade, and I played a Middle Earth campaign and stuff, but Magic the Gathering sucked up a good 5 years of our groups.
So,
And then we
gaming
found
lives,
LAN
so-
games, and we would all take computers to each
Yeah.
other's houses and play that. So
Yeah.
who of you
But
is
then-
who of you is hoarding all your moxes then? Right now.
I sold mine way under cost back in 1990 something. So,
Oh, okay.
oh yeah, we
I
we
I had my cards rated by my financially wiser friends.
Okay.
But
So-
yeah, we've my
yeah, 'cause
friends
we
have
got
made
in- we got
quite a
in-
pretty penny on their cards.
the first Gen Con that it was released in, whatever that was, 94 or 93, I can't remember which, in Milwaukee. The last day there, Master Z, the guy who's in there, Rob, the one who's our DM for our current campaign, just told us, hey, why don't you guys come down to the vendor hall and you might be interested in this thing. And we went down and we spent, $20 on cards, and then we were hooked a month later. And I mean, it was an addictive game, so we didn't really play D&D at all, like second edition. None of
Yeah,
our
we
group did.
skipped
We
missed the
we went-
Greyhawk
yeah, we
second
were-
Renaissance.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
missed Planescape. We missed all,
Yeah.
like I said, the 90s were me in the military, getting married, starting my career. But when I got together with my friends, they wanted to play Magic. When I lived
Wow.
with another friend,
Yeah.
I was running different games. I ran Ars Magica. I ran Vampire. We did some. I think we did a little Call of Cthulhu. We did Glenran Merp. We played some Traveler. So we did a whole hodgepodge of different things, but none really stuck. I think the Vampire was the longest running of the bunch. But then, like he said,
when 3.0 came out, BAMO, all of a sudden we all had time for, a weekly. I think at the time it was weekly, and we've gone to a bi-weekly. We've gone to every other week now because we have a friend who doesn't play D&D. We play board games with, so we alternate. So it's
oh, that's why
it's every other week now.
Wondering why that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's cool.
That's how we do it. But we usually have we have a Saturday monthly thing going on.
Yeah, I got greedy.
And right now, Dale's running a Call of Cthulhu right now, which is taking up a lot of Saturday night. Not a lot. Once a month, but
I was like, guys, I get that Glenn's running this thing, but I had also been I'd been straying from the group. I had game friends from work and games friends from EverQuest, and I said, hey, how about I get some of my friends and some of my other friends, and I'll put them together in an online, or some of them were going to dial in, but other folks, I had a married couple and another friend of ours that I work with came over and joined us. And then I had a friend join using an actual video camera, not quite one of these little webcams, but one with like a stand.
Yeah.
This was in the early 2000s, so it wasn't tiny.
FaceTime on an old iPad.
Well, we ended up moving
did that,
to that.
For a while because we had a friend who's in our group moved to Cincinnati from Columbus, and it just worked out. One of our guys had an iPad Pro, so it was this big giant thing, and we just set it up in front of my DM screen, and that's how he played. Yeah. He could see the miniatures and everything.
He'd be like, "Move me closer so I can see."
He had that with Marco all the time. Yeah, exactly.
Because our game style, Jay, is we're
tactical battle simulations.
We're tactical battle simulations. Ironically, we tried 4E and tried to love it. It just didn't stick. We tried. We were all in. We're like, hey, we're going to play in the Forgotten Realms. We're going to play 4th edition, and we got cards, we got dice, we got minis. This sucks. Let's go back to 3.5 and play more in Greyhawk.
Funky Muncher says that's him in Cincinnati.
Yes, it is.
All right. Good to see you on.
Howdy, Tim.
Awesome.
Good to see you on. So, Funky, please hit the follow button, please. Then just you can turn all the notifications off. But we're on a march to 10,000. We want to get there. We're at 95.32.
But my other gaming friends and my regular group got together like fire and water, and I think only one of them lasted more than a couple of weeks. And more and more of my regular gaming group went in there until the end. It was just Kevin and you guys. So he was the only one who made it to the end, I think, or mostly towards the end of the campaign. So, but anyway, so that was my monthly game. And then after I ran that lasted about a decade almost.
Yeah, Dale. So the campaign in the Knurl region,
I'm going to bring up
Dale's. That was Dale's on a Saturday monthly basis with a group that...
I'm going to bring the campaign summary up right now.
Yeah.
How's that
perfect?
sound?
Anyway,
how's that
so
sound?
That ran for a long time, but it was monthly, so it's not like we were, knocking out session after session, every month. And I would run most of the weekly stuff it was Tuesdays at the time, and we've switched to Wednesdays since then. And we've switched off. I'd burn out after a couple of years of DMing, and someone else would DM. But Dale's always been the Saturday guy running his campaign, and it's been obviously the longest lasting stuff. But we did finish it up, and other people started taking over the Saturday night stuff. But Dale's big run of us through Abyss Thor and Rapana Thuck and all that stuff was on a monthly basis. We'd show up and spend 20 minutes recapping what we did so we know where we're at and start hacking away. So
we'll get to we'll talk about the Necromancer game stuff, because you and I, we have that in common. And how much we love that stuff. But one of the things you printed, a lot of stuff you can't get anymore because those add-on prints are no longer available.
Right.
And that's why, You know, as you can see, this is my original Crucible of Freya. Look at all the crap I have printed out in there. The Wizard's Amulet's inside this, right?
Yeah.
You know, so because those add-ons were so great. Yeah, definitely a wonderful thing. That company.
So we ran kind of some preliminary kind of one-shot stuff when we started 3rd edition, and then I kicked off this Greyhawk campaign where I found Tomb of Abyss Thor and I devoured it and said, I'm running this. Yeah. So we all started out in Nyrond, and I sent them to look for the catacombs of the Night Protectors. And, you know, if you're familiar with it, it's basically a mega dungeon, but not like, you know, one of these humongous ones. It's got like 8 or 9 levels, and it's just an amazing adventure. You get
just 8 or 9 levels.
Plus plus once again, they had extra stuff. Like I just opened up here the Justicars of Muir here, rumors about the Stoneheart dungeon, all this add-on content. I don't know how they had time to do it all. There was so much with it.
So I converted all that stuff to Greyhawk. They have Thir and Mirror, and I had it was Palor and Hieronius.
Perfect.
So the irony of this whole setting is they're going through these things, and they're constantly running across all these knights' tombs and heavy armor. Every single one of them was making some sort of light fighter who wanted nothing but a mithril chain shirt. So we had all this clunky armor nobody wanted. They're like, I'm like, you find some plate mail that looks really nice. We tech magic, it's magical. And everybody's like,
sell it.
Of course. We look under it. Does he have a chain shirt under there?
To show the world that not only is my group with example characters like the gnome named Rumple Foreskin, we scroll down here and we have Matt Kay played Phil McCracken.
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
It's yes. Human
he's our resident jokester.
Yes.
My biggest memory of that character once is he charged somebody and then shot them with a bow. I was
Dale, it was a type 1 demon.
And it was a type 1 demon. He's like, can I charge it? I'm like, you can. He's like, I charge it, and then I shoot it right in the face with my bow, and I'm like, all right, there's some attacks of opportunity involved here. So, but
Big Mac's asking, Glenn, are you the bears of something too, or no?
And yes, Dread Pirate Roberts. Robert. That was the guy made the character with a goal of.
No, actually, I'm not a bear. So.
He actually made the character with a goal of taking the Dread Pirate Prestige class, and then he got it, and then, like, doing a mic drop, he quit after that.
Of course!
And I said, hey, maybe your guy can move to Realm Ward and be the guy who, you know, while you're set up as a river pirate there, you can sell, you know, you can be the fence who gets rid of their stuff. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but then in Rapanathuk, there's a lich, and they managed to destroy the lich, which was fun. But then they didn't mention where his phylactery was, so I decided it was inside this mithril carving that they had. Yes,
with Orcus on the cover.
Yes.
Number 3, yeah.
So they sent that mithril thing. They're like, it's light metal. It's mithril. So they sent it to be sold, and I rolled how long it would be till the lich came back, because they hadn't destroyed his phylactery, and it came back when it got there. So he became its first victim after it came back.
Nice.
So that was the end of the Dread Pirate Roberts, except he became a vampire, because Gremag is nothing if not benevolent in his servants. So. But then that campaign had a sad ending, because we had a character who got killed in an unfortunate way, and people being people, we had a big blow up over it, and I decided that I was tired of running it anyway. It was a good time to quit. So I've noted here, the campaign ended prematurely.
That's a shame.
About half our campaigns end not, naturally. It's more of a, I'm done DMing. Can someone do something? And then someone
but-
else will run. But we usually find a spot to stop. It's not like it's like mid-adventure, like, you know, we're in the middle of battle. And go,
Table
like, I'm
flip.
done. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Well, we've had some of those, but we started back up the next week, you know. So
Yeah, it was
we
like,
got
okay,
over
well, that
but-
sucked. Let's play again.
I'm gonna ask a question you don't have to answer. How many physical confrontations have you had over all the years?
Physical? Zero.
Physical.
Like, okay, like
Yeah.
well, we've had like
No.
not me personally, but we've had some of the we've had 2 or 3.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
just yelling.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Sometimes we raise
storming out,
voices.
the occasional storming out and stuff. But we've known each other since, as a group.
so beer
since
jam is
86,
another
so
another one.
You
of
just do
yours?
that in normal situations. So.
Beer
Yes. Yes,
awesome. You got your whole crew.
He's
here.
the guy whose house we normally game at. That's my
Awesome.
good friend
Beer
Tom.
Trim, yeah, that's Tom.
Beer jam.
And
Tom
please
is the
hit the
guy
follow,
who
man.
has the table with the battle mat like permanently attached to it.
yes,
That's awesome.
we have about a 6 foot by 6 foot table
Yeah.
with a Chessex battle mat on it. And that is what we play on. So just a little bit about our styles.
Pre-COVID.
Please,
Yeah.
that would be great.
We do things very differently, even though me and Glenn have been together since before we were born. I tend to take modules, adapt them to Greyhawk, string them together, and my homebrew stuff is just little side quest
let me go
things and things the glue. I'm a big lore fanatic. So
We have this rules
and
too here.
I have chosen the eastern half of the map.
Yes.
So
Someone
Greyhawk is mine for them. I'm never going to run anything in the west other than,
Yeah.
if I there were a couple of living Greyhawk things that went off in that direction and that I ran in with the home group through, and that was fine. But in general, my groups are going to start and stay for the most part in the east, and I run pretty rules as written. I have a very few homebrew rules, and most of them are like I have a custom reincarnation chart. I have
Custom. Oh, that's cool.
I have sources because I wanted some more Greyhawk races, like
There's
more
a chance to be a
goblinoids.
Norker.
There's a
if you
chance
always
to be
wanted
a Norker.
Oh.
And I have a lot of things that I don't allow. I have, these things aren't Greyhawky to me, like, Dragonborn, no, right out. I just have things you can't be, and I have books that I don't allow or classes that I don't allow. If it's
Name one. Name a class.
Ninja.
God, I don't allow ninjas either.
I just
Yeah,
the
me
Oriental
either.
adventure classes. I didn't think they were
No,
very Greyhawk.
no Kensai.
Samurai, no, just prestige classes. I came up with a house rule. If you join a prestige class,
Here's classes.
this is the controversial one with my group. If
this is
a
mine, so
this
Oh,
is
that's
different from Dale.
so this
yeah.
is Glenn's. Glenn has
Yeah.
completely rewritten
a lot of stuff. Yeah.
a lot of the stuff. But my rules are, if you join a prestige class, you cannot take another one until you finish the first one. You can abandon it, but you can't. None of this. I dip into this prestige class, then this one, then go back to this one.
Casey's head would have exploded because he had 8
Right.
classes from his. If he couldn't do that, right? Sorry, Casey.
We had people
It
do
was-
that too. That's
was-
why Dale made the rule.
Yeah.
That's most of the time we adopt that because that keeps prestige classes, interesting.
Well, Dale,
You
it's
don't
like,
go into a 10 level prestige class without taking it seriously.
it's like my dual class rule that I don't allow you to go first level and then switch immediately. You have to go up to 7th before you can switch. Unless,
Oh, yours is 7th.
well, yeah.
Doesn't that break into the bard issue?
Well, no, because
where they
bards
have
and
to
fighters
switch-
can go up to 7th.
But can't you switch but sometime between
Yeah.
level 5 and 7?
They're the only exception.
Oh, if they
Because
announce
it's
they're
built
going
into the rule.
bard, you let them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If they're bard, if they're a fighter and they're going to do bard, and they could do thief next, yeah. Then, but why would you want? Why would you want to stop at 5th when 7th is 2 attacks around? Specialized.
Good point.
Yeah. So
For those who don't know me, I'm a huge first edition bard fan. Never got to play one. My closest character,
Yeah.
we had a party betrayal. This was back in the first edition days. I had a betrayal and I ended up switching to thief too early to
Oh,
become a bard, and he was still furious about that.
okay.
But that was back in the days where if you left the dungeon with the treasure, it was your experience. And our group had cached a whole bunch of. This wasn't with my brother, by the way. This is another one. They had cached. We had cached all of our treasure closer to the exit so that we could go back and get more, because encumbrance and all that fun stuff. And we got stuck in a trap, and the cleric and the party thief are on the other side, and they said, hey. And it turns out that the players were both going to be leaving the group anyway. So they said, hey, you guys are on the other side. And we're like, yeah, can you work the trap from your side? And they said, I could, but I talked it over with Biffo here, or whatever the hell his name was, and Caedmon, I think his character's name was. And instead, we're just going to take all the treasure and leave and get a lot of experience. So bye, guys. And they left us there.
Oh, damn.
And then they left the campaign as well. So, but then that's why it's like, well, it's not like they had another character the next week, but it's like, well, what are we going to do for a thief? And it's like, Crovis, you were going to switch to thief. And I'm like, I wanted to be a bard. But it's like, can you do it now? And I'm like, I can do it now.
So here,
but because of that, I hate that sex bard trope in all bards since first edition. I hate them.
Yeah.
I agree. So sounds like you've had a lot of people come in and out. How many?
Well, we have a core. Okay, so here I'll just start naming some names because a lot of them are here. So Tom, the one who's our host, Ben, if he's in, I haven't seen him pop up yet. Rob, those three are basically always in. Tim and
Spain,
Matt Rapowski are also there.
9 minutes.
They're joined. So there's 5 people that are a core. And then my son has since then joined, and he's kind of in the core. He'll always be there if I'm there. And then we have Rob has 2 sons who are in stuff, and then we have another Matt, the Phil McCracken guy. He's in and out of stuff. We have some other people who were in earlier in our gaming who have left.
There's always a team. Yeah, there is.
But yeah, we have always had a large group. Dale knows people, so we have this guy named Kevin who was in Dale's Saturday campaign for the longest time. Who we've kind of lost touch with. Dale probably is talking to him, but he was a work.
So your core group's
associate.
like 6, 7.
Oh. I haven't seen us ever adventure with less than 7.
Really?
And we've had us as easily 7.
My Call of Cthulhu is 6.
So no one has henchmen.
That was hard.
No one has henchmen, and if they do, there's a weird circumstances why they have it.
It gets tough.
And if you have someone with pets, that gets tough.
Oh, absolutely.
And I have it out for people who do summoning, because man, now you're really making the map crazy. And big groups, you're running big groups, and it does slow stuff down, but it's great. We don't have the problem of, hey, I really need some people to play. We have the people to play. It's the time that gets us. So, getting them together is the hard part. But have the people.
So it's tough.
So scroll down to the next campaign that we ran, and Glenn can talk about his Parentland campaign.
Okay, yeah. So this was the first one I ran, and this was pure 3.5. No, I had no house rules. I'm just running it. After Dale was running a campaign, I took over. I always thought Parentland was a cool looking thing on the map, so I'm going to go Parentland. I know almost nothing about it. I read up. The Living Greyhawk Gazetter was out. Throw them in there. Wasn't the best sort of thing. Anyway, but there were some interesting characters. Dale's character was amazing in it. Molinar.
Wow, you went to Exag.
We went to Exag. There's an article. I think it's in an old dragon.
There you go, Anna.
Do you guys remember the article on Exag? I think it's in a dragon from back in the day.
Yeah, it's really old, but it's awesome. It's one of these hidden gems in Greyhawk.
Yeah, I just read it and said, here's an ancient city, and half of it's no one lives in it because it's old, and so I had it full of undead.
Yep.
But anyway, the campaign was one of the characters' sisters was kidnapped, and they had to track her down, and I had a lot of dragon stuff because I think the Draconomicon came out in the middle of it. So I threw a whole bunch of new stuff in. Yeah, It's amazing how new publications go, ooh, I gotta add this.
Oh yeah.
And And I had some experimental things like, actually resurrection's not that hard to do. So I didn't have any problem killing off characters because they just be back really quickly.
Yeah, let me know when I can any of these maps that are relating to the campaign.
Anyway, this campaign has no
Verdantic
maps.
X in that?
Yeah,
no, those are older ones. Okay, we'll get to
that was
those.
another one.
Okay.
But anyway, it ended with probably the coolest thing in it. Okay, a couple cool things. I had a deck of many things that was dragon themed. I literally had bought a tarot deck that had dragon theme at Borders or something. And so I got to use this. So I just made up a dragon deck, and it had the convenient power of after you use it, it teleports to another dragon horde nearby. Right. So you can, so they ran into it like twice.
I love that idea.
And at the very end of the campaign, like it literally turned Rob's character into a copper dragon.
Milo.
And it was great because later on, his character, who was a halfling rogue, Milo, okay, he was a thief. I can tell everyone now. He stole from the party. I'm just letting you know. He sat next to me, passed me notes.
I'm shocked.
I know. They all knew it, but they couldn't catch him.
Oh, dear. We have party
But anyway, he got turned into a copper dragon. And later on, in a later campaign, they ran into this copper dragon, and it's his character. So
awesome.
The cheapest of dragon kind.
Dale's character got to meet his god Cord. That was fun.
Because I died.
He died. He died, and I was going to be like, everyone was going to resurrect him, and Dale was kind of talking to me about like, maybe I'll just play a different character, and I role played a meeting with his god. So, what did you do, Dale? I think you knelt down to your Lord.
Yeah, I knelt and I was like, oh.
And Cord's words were, "Get up." So he got up and accepted his resurrection and came back, and they defeated this big dragon at the end of the campaign. And
how high level did this campaign get?
I am not sure. Maybe 11th, 12th.
Glenn's campaigns tend to stop.
Yeah, once we get into the teens,
it's retirement time. Greyhawk.
Yeah,
we
kind of wrap things up and stuff.
I agree.
You have to have a really good idea for what you're doing if you're going to run high level characters. Yep. I mean, they just. They're high level characters. They should be doing stuff.
Especially in 3.5, I can imagine. Oh my gosh.
Just challenging them is hard, though.
Yeah. So because back in 3.5, my campaigns would get in the 20th level range.
Oh.
And I used to, the way I would derail it is give them the deck of many things.
Well, we lost many. My first 3.5 character, well, it was a 3.0 character when we started, was Dale's, the Tomb of Abyssal one, right, Dale?
Mm-hmm. Right.
With Tish, who was a really fun character. She was a wizardess from Nyrond.
She was pureblood Sewell.
Yeah, she was pureblood Sewell.
Nice.
Anyway, I remember she was a wand user. I always liked wands. Anyway, she was going great, and of course, we get a deck of many things, and we get I get Donjon. That's how it happens.
So after Glenn ran Perrinland, our good friend Tim decided to step in, and he had the Shackled City.
Wow.
Yep.
So he started running us through that. My memories of that are fleeting. I just before this started, I had run a Wilderlands campaign, and in that campaign, his character died mysteriously. And the reason he died mysteriously is because his god was at odds with the god of another person in the group, and that person chose to take a prestige class, and the god said, "I'm not giving you spells while you hang out with Loki worshippers." And he's like, "I want spells." So at night, when he was on guard, his character Theba the Amazon took her great axe and beheaded that Loki worshipper. And Tim's like, he was absent that session. And, I was like, "Tim, you need to make up a new character." And he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, I didn't want to turn it into a big back and forth. And he's like, "You don't know." Because what's funny is he's like, "Hey, everybody wake up. This guy's dead." And they went out looking for what had done it. And he's out there leading the charge. And, he was the one who had done it. But so Tim was running his campaign, and my character seemed to always be at the brunt of whatever the DM was doing. And finally, I was getting my ass beat yet again. And I said, "It was Tom. Tom killed you." And he said, "Oh, really?" So, anyways, that's my big recollection. The only other thing I remember is there was some big bad evil guy of, I think, Hextor, some priestess of Hextor, and somebody did something that stunned her, and she dropped this flail that she'd been beating me to death with because somebody was still mad at me, I guess. And my character just grabbed it and ran with it. It's like I was playing a cleric rogue. It's like I can't fight this thing, but I can take its weapon and run really fast. So I just remembered that because I was like, I've never seen anybody do that before. Yoink.
So I can imagine, and it says enter prematurely due to DM burnout. I can see where Shackled City would burn any DM out, man. You know,
but Tim's a teacher too, so
yeah. Okay.
you know, he's got to deal with
got a lot
that
of
and a group of adolescent adults.
And they're long. And they're
playing D&D.
sandboxy. Yeah, they're long sandboxy episodes. So, yeah.
So back to Glenn.
All right. So the new barony is kind of my first foray into actually real Greyhawk, actually trying to take a little bit of story that's actually there. Again, just through the Living Greyhawk Gazetter. Which I love. I love that book. I still go through it occasionally and just look at stuff. I'm much worse at like pulling up old or journals and things like that. But anyway, it's set in Jeff, and it's all about basically they drove off the giants. Basically, the Grand March military did, the knights.
Okay.
And the refugees from Jeff are trying to return, and they find out that the Grand Marchers are basically just trying to annex their territory and really don't care about them per se. So I love the idea of the Grand March being this military thing that we're here to do good and we're doing the right thing, but they're really kind of, they really just take over stuff because they're good at it and everything. But anyway, it ended up being a very good campaign. Dale played a racist gray elf.
Lepoy the Unexpected.
Basically, everyone who wasn't a gray elf was an inferior being, is basically how that worked.
In there.
Big set of other characters. My friend Matt played actually an Easterner, basically, a mixed Iridian or whatever, who had been
Back Looney.
Who'd been raised in Tusmet.
Dervish, it says.
He'd been raised in Tusmet, and he was sent on this mission to find this tripartite artifact that he was destined to find. He was destined because I'm a railroading DM is why he was destined to find it.
That's all right.
But anyway, the story worked very well with the characters. The few, Dale got mad because no one wanted to listen to him. Well, probably because he was playing an asshole character.
It was on purpose.
Lappy the Unexpected.
Lepoy the Unexpected had like a 4 charisma.
Yeah, he did.
And
a 20
elf.
Intelligence and a 20
and a 20 intelligence and dexterity. He was a gray elf.
At first level.
Wow, that's
first
the lowest
level.
charisma I've ever heard of from a gray elf. Wow.
Yeah, he was the most annoying gray elf ever. But anyway, it worked.
But he was
really
always
well.
right.
There was a group of villains. There was a schemer who was trying to set up his own country, basically kind of in the area of the Dim Forest, named Robert Gallant, who ended up being the big evil guy, and he had this wife of a nobleman of the Grand March was his, they had a thing going, and she was a bad guy, and yeah, Dale killed her, so that was fun. But
question.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Rob, is this half elf, half dragon? Half elf, dragon, shaman.
Yeah,
dragon shaman.
Yeah, he was
a class.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
they have auras.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, he was just a half elf, and Lepoy was constantly consoling him for his poor mother had to go through.
Had to suffer through a
human. And he was like, "Oh yeah, my mom and dad love each other." It's like, I'm sure she told you that.
Nice.
But, my character was terrible.
Oh, look at this.
Playing him.
Look at this. Where's Gary Julian? He'd love this. The Seekers.
Seekers.
Oh, let him finish about this campaign ended.
Please.
So the new barony, how it ended was the whole point was there were a couple of Jeffites that were in the party that were trying to Tim, who's Erasmus the cleric, was a Tritherianite, and it was all about getting the Jeffites resettled and repopulating Jeff and starting over and down with the military and all this kind of stuff. So he actually kind of drove a lot of the campaign, but there was the Schemer. There was a big dragon battle. I think Dale sent you the map of the dragon's lair. That was a two-session battle.
Now then, okay.
A two-session battle fighting this dragon, who was an ally of this Robert Gallant guy. But
there we go.
Yeah, it's a terrible photo I took.
Two
but anyway,
pieces of graph paper, old school style.
So they fought a green dragon, another green dragon, a sorcerer in thrall, and I think someone else in thrall, in addition to the lair, which was trapped all over the place and everything. And so it was a really good battle. And I think the best. Okay, so Baleful Transposition. It's a second level spell in third edition. I think it's in
third. I think Benign's the second one.
I think Benign's the first. Anyway,
okay,
regardless,
whatever.
It lets you transpose two characters. They make a saving throw if they don't want to do it or whatever. There was a character, one of our characters, the Whirling Dervish guy, was actually literally in the mouth of one of the dragons, and the next turn was going to be swallowed because it had the little snatch and swallow feat. And someone cast this transposition spell. Dale cast Lepoy cast the transposition spell and swapped out one of the allies of the dragon for the Kothar character, the Whirling Dervish character. And of course the dragons just got a person in their mouth. They don't know, and it swallowed them down. So that was a good way to get rid of one of the bad guys. But anyway, the campaign ended with a Grand Duke Owen had literally been off in the celestial realms looking for allies to help retake his country, and he found some dwarven regiment that was going to do
celestial dwarves.
That the PCs had to, the gate that they were in had been closed because this dragon had knocked down all these like standing stones that were part of the gate, and they had to figure that out, and they got it together. Then they met with Grand Duke Owen, and they planned an assault on this cloud giant who was, generaling all the armies, and she was on this castle in the sky over the ruins of Gorna, and they did this whole thing, and they met up, and there was a big battle. Their job was basically to destroy the castle. There's these anti-grav things making the clouds hold up and stuff, and so that we did that battle, and it worked out really well. But basically that, and then they went off for Gallant, but it ended up really well. We wouldn't even go into the Lepoy winning the campaign.
No, I'm fine.
No. We'll leave it. There was
no non-Greyhawk races. No non-Greyhawk races.
There was there was kind of a denouement that ended up actually really good.
Cool, Rich.
but anyway, so that was the new barony campaign in Jeff. And then we did that Seekers one in Yeomanry, which I did, which
perfect timing.
I had plans for it. I had a lot of plans for it.
So right. Let's hear.
So I had read about the early founding of Keeland, and all these houses that had escaped the reign of colorless fire, and they were settling, and they were warring with whatever, and the elves were there, and I had read someone had a time travel campaign where they went back and stopped the reign of colorless fire, or tried to do it. So my plans for it were to eventually get to that sort of thing. And sadly, that was super burnout for me. I think we only got to about 6th level, but it was early on, and it was set in the Yeomanry, but they drifted into Keeland. But there was going to be time travel involved, and it could have been fun, but things just don't work out. I mean, you can see it ran for less than a year even. So.
And I had my Dora the Explorer. Ullman.
Yeah, there's the Dora the Explorer.
Dora. Oh my. Like I said, I don't feel bad ever again for some of the names that we come up with. Rosencrantz. So we're
Mike might remember that, because that's when I won the caption contest, and he drew her.
Yep,
good times.
You have that cartoon that I sent you?
Yes, I do. Here we go.
This is Dale's character in that campaign.
There it is.
I loved that.
That's so fun.
He's like, Dale, I'm never going to let you win another caption contest.
I probably quit doing them after that.
I'm
But-
sorry.
But yeah, she was anyway. She was actually, Dale. You wrote her as a daughter of one of your
my
old high school
first edition characters.
Yeah, because Dale had played an Ullman monk back in the day, way back in the day, and so Dale decided, okay, well, this is going to be his daughter. So we had written this prelude of, why she got sent off to the northern lands to fend for herself with her monkey,
who was not trained in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Anyway, but
That's
that
awesome.
yeomanry campaign was short-lived. But there was a Guildenstern with Rosencrantz.
Yeah.
That was
there
another,
was. Okay.
Yeah. It was a he wasn't a PC, he was an NPC, and I think he got turned into a white or a wraith or one of the two.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I like it.
it was bad.
Looks like this one's going on still.
So
No, we just couldn't remember when it ended.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
that was we actually did a lot of necromancy trying to figure out some of this stuff, because like you and I were talking about, Jay, if you don't track this stuff, trying to remember it years later.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
It's
Getting 50 somethings to try to remember stuff from 15 years ago is hard.
I can see the names are getting even better. Chicky Poo, Tusky.
I'm guilty for that.
So the DM in that one, Ben, one of our core people, this was his first DMing foray with us, and he ran this big dungeon. Is my name on there? Did we ever find my character's name? I literally couldn't remember my character's name.
I don't think it's on there because we couldn't find it.
And this one says Hasselina Chicky Poo.
Hasselina,
right?
Hasselina
yes. was. That's right.
Dale called me Chicky Poo. Dale's dwarf called me Chicky Poo, and so the DM started calling me Chicky Poo. So it was just I was Chicky Poo.
I was playing a hill dwarf Underdark ranger named Lefto, and he talked like this, and he just gave everybody nicknames, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Lefto was
Tusky was the half orc, because
Tusky was Tim's
that's what you call a half orc when you're a dwarf.
Yeah, so that was a fun and deadly campaign. So, but Ben holds no punches when he has encounters.
How long?
He kills people.
How long does this last?
We got to 9th level, I think.
I don't even think we got that high, and we had a lot of turnover because at the end,
people were
dying.
DM
introduced this challenge where you go into this area and you'd go through a door and something random would appear, and then you'd go through another door and something tougher would appear, and he had random charts for this stuff, and you went in solo.
Sounds like
so we had a whole bunch of people get chewed up in that thing because there was an artifact at the end of it.
Yeah.
And finally, Tim won.
Yeah. So, we lost some characters in that. I didn't lose me because I didn't go. I was like, I'm not falling for that. It sounds like a sucker thing, and it was. So Tim made it through, but everyone else died.
And then this was my long campaign.
Yeah, this next one is Dale's Saturday running.
This was my friends meet other friends,
Yeah.
friends tell other friends to pounce, and then this I normally had about 8 people. I think I had 7 at one point, and then 8, and it was normally about 8 the whole time. So when I started, we went through the Wizard's Amulet. We went to Fair Hill, which I put south of, or I put by Knurl. Yep. And ran the Crucible of Alona. And then we went to Knurl, which for Knurl, I used Bard's Gate.
Yeah.
And I think you've got my little, so yeah, there it is. So there's Fair Hill on the way to Knurl.
Here's my copy of that too.
And then it's fantastic. It's actually so it's Frog God Games, if you're unfamiliar with it, the old Necromancer games. And they actually had the Knurl actually placed on the Harp, it's like they had it placed on the Harp River. So it's like, this is a natural. It was like, it was all about, a bardic college, but it was a nice city set that I could use. And then they discovered, a lot of these places that are in there. Yeah, there's my So that was a little sketch map they gave of the city for players to use as a reference, and I threw some Greyhawk references on it.
Mhm.
And
It's
Neural
awesome.
was the
Yep.
center of my campaign for, like I said, over 10 years.
No
And
wonder you're
then-
busting my stones about not finding it that night. I got it. Yeah. So that's awesome.
But they went in and they found Rapanathuk, and they fought a Knoll fortress and a whole bunch of other things. The best part was at the Knoll fortress they were trying to summon this aspect of Yunugu, and all they had to do was make a sacrifice, and the character stopped them from making the sacrifice. And then the first thing they did after they killed a dude is said, I kick him in the pit. It's like, well, there's the sacrifice.
There's your sacrifice.
And then it appeared. But anyways, that campaign was infamous because this is in 3.5, I ran characters first level through 15th level. In Rapanathuk, they fought this Death Knight that was not one of the Gary Holland ones, because it was in the Necromancer games thing. And in its treasure was this little tiny itty bitty tiny chest. And if you're familiar with good old Lenz Leomund's tiny chest, it blows up to a regular size chest. But it was locked with a magical lock, and they had to figure out the key to it. And they figured out what they needed to do, and they had to get a high level bard to play this musical note to unlock the magical musical lock. So they took this thing out onto an island where Agnarak, the red dragon, had lived, that they fought it there. They wanted a secluded place. And then they finally had him play it, and it popped it open, and I'm like, what do you do? And they're like, and it's like, I had him roll initiative, and the guy who wants is, I throw a pebble at it. I throw a rock at it. And I'm like, okay. Next is a skull pops out, and it's a demi-lich, and it's a seriously overpowered demi-lich, and it basically wiped out their 15th level party, with the exception
Of the guy got reincarnated
of
as a hobgoblin.
one character. Yeah, he was in
Overpowered druids. That's what
he
it
was
is.
in Greznek, and they had these goblins wearing bat-winged berets, and he said, I want to do that. And he had gotten turned into a hobgoblin. He's like, and he always talked with an underbite, and he's like, he was the son of one of our other players, and he's like, I'm Nick, or I'm Dennis the Hobgoblin.
Dennis the Hobgoblin, yeah.
He was hilarious. But anyway, so everybody got killed in that encounter. It was basically a TPK, except one character, the druid, who made a save due to some crafted magic. He crafted a contingent spell, and then he was 5 feet faster than it, which is the only reason he got away, and eventually it turned around and went back after its treasure. But I had everybody, including the guy got away, re-roll at 12th level, because I had a glut of content for level 12 and up. And then this is party 2.
Yeah.
And so one of the important things that happened with that first party is Gary had given me a copy of his Shadows over Spine Castle, and I had the dragon thing, but his thing had even more stuff in it. And I got everybody together, and they had been, they had come to the attention of Count Dunstan, the Lord of Neural, and he summoned them, had his people summon them, and I played up his grandeur and said, we've been able to maintain Neural as a separate entity for so long, but we've got spies in Spine Castle, and my spy is not responding. I need heroes like yourself to go to Spine Castle and find out what happened to my spy. And the response was, geez, God, that doesn't sound like us. Hey, did we ever go down that corridor in Rapanathuk down on like the 9th level to the south? We didn't? Okay, let's go do that. Hey, yeah,
sorry, Count, we're the worst. We are the worst. You shouldn't have asked us.
So in a nutshell, because of that, I had the lack of information lead to North Kingdom annexing Neural through a plan they would have discovered had they gone, and it was bad. So their next
Good
character,
job, guys.
yeah, exactly. they're
Oh, that's right. We fought Grenell later, so don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
I learned a lot about the advantage of a railroad versus a sandbox.
Yes.
So, but anyway, yes. So the second party, Glenn's character Siegfried is a half celestial paladin of Saint Cuthbert, but I had his wings cut off, and he was fighting in the fighting pits, and he met the losers that they sent after the spy who failed. He got to see what happened to them in the fighting pits of Spine Castle, and then he got smuggled out by some, helpful people there. And
He was your
you can't blame me because I was already captive.
Right.
I wasn't the one who said no to the count.
So these characters went from level 12, and you'll notice that with this second group, as we go up in levels, I start to allow more nonsense. So you'll see in this second group, there's a Tabaxi rogue who later got magically changed into a human, and we had to constantly remind her that humans have to wear pants.
And then the Flan got reincarnated to a drow. That's awesome.
Well, first he got he got killed, and so the reason that reincarnate is regularly used here is we had access to a druid, and this druid would cast a instant spell that allowed you to come back without level loss, but it was reincarnation. So he got reincarnated as a kobold, and he had just upgraded all of his armor, and it was all medium size, and he was like, I can't be size small. So he committed suicide, and then they brought him back, and he was a drow, and I'm like, you're not going to do that again. So
He'd have been the coolest kobold ever.
he would have been the coolest kobold ever. This was the guy who played Dennis the Dragon Shaman. But anyways, that group not only went through Rapanathuk, they didn't finish it, but at a certain level, they just started.
They did get the Mace of St. Cuthbert.
Yeah, they did get down. Ben's character, the dragon, Ben's previous character had killed a whole bunch of flumps. He was a flump murderer. He murdered he was a true neutral druid, but after murdering a whole village of flumps, I told him he was neutral evil. He's like, no, but I killed good people too. Or I killed bad people too. But we read the definition of lawful or of neutral evil, and it was like kill without remorse, blah, blah, blah. It was him. Like it was him. So, but so this group went through a whole bunch of the core modules from Living Greyhawk, the old adventures, because as they were getting ready to shut down the campaign, I was a bad RPGA member, and I went and I checked out a whole bunch of ones that I wanted for home play because I knew that they were going to go away, and I was so glad I did.
Good job.
But because of that, they got to go through helping Mordenkainen try to fix the balance, and they went through the whole issue where one of Rary's people turns against him, except I flipped the script in that one when they finally got to the, we had the, what NPCs did we use? Well, Jesus, we used all of them. It was like Mordenkainen, Tensor. They went through the Robilar. They went through the adventure where your Karistan gets killed, and they had to they made a deal with Rary and all sorts of interest. And I think they even attacked Rary. I don't remember.
As long as you didn't have Philidor show up.
No, I don't like Philidor. I left him out completely.
Thank you.
But they had the whole Iu's Codex of the Infinite Planes thing in 10, and then they went to the Abyss and had adventures there, and then at one point
we had a City of Brass adventure.
Yeah, City of Brass. There were 2 adventures, and they got to use animal shapes and turn into birds and fly to the City of Brass. That was kind of fun.
Animal shapes.
I agree. I'd kill all the flumps too, even if I was lawful good, because that would drive me crazy. Boggles and flumps.
He went into their area, their little village inside the dungeon, in the shape of a black dragon, and the flump attack is like a spray. Yeah. It's like they kind of freak out and spray you. And he's like, these damn things are pissing on me. And he hunted down and killed every last one of them. And I'm like, even the women and children? He says, "Did they piss on me?" Yeah. So anyway, but in the end,
this is what
they're in the Abyss. Iuz is coming them after them with he's got the Codex, and they're literally the next person who's up is supposed to be the wizard who was going to teleport him out. And that was when Tensor appeared and said, "Oh, hold him off." And then boop, he was gone. So Tensor died needlessly again.
We
Wow.
teleported out right when Tensor was coming in, so Tensor had to solo IUs. Well, that
he had no reason to die. He went in to save you guys, and you had already saved yourself, so he died for nothing.
And this is
in the end, when he was supposed to be fighting Kerman Mindbender, I had Ben's dragon druid show up again. He had gone up to epic levels, and he was the one fighting IUs.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
you know,
you can use the Swords of Answering to shift the battle, and you can make IUs weaker and Nevin stronger. And they're like, we don't want Nevin to be stronger. We want them to both be weak. So the machine where you elevate IUs and he can't stay on the Flannis anymore, they didn't do that. They basically, all that happened is Nevin got a divine rank. That's literally about it.
Okay.
So Greyhawk in the Wild Coast, Gary's asking a question. If I'm in the East and Glenn's in the West, who gets Greyhawk in the Wild Coast?
Well, Ben actually, because
Ben's the only one who's
that was the start of our Return to Temple Elemental Evil, which is coming up after this campaign.
Yep.
We're about to show.
So that's how that one ended. They were level 20.
Wait,
so,
you ran a Vampire Thrommel adventure. Ugh.
So
is that what you're saying? Oh boy. Okay.
No, Return to the Temple of Elemental Evil.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So
but
this is actually concurrent still with your Saturday. This new Barony one.
Mm-hmm.
This is a New Gorna. This is the New Gorna.
So
campaign.
back to Jeff.
So this is set in what, 599, something like that. Is that what it says? I don't know.
Yes.
Right before 600.
And notice the dates here. This is 2012 is 5E's out.
This is 10 years.
Yeah. We're still playing 3.5.
Yeah, we're doing 3.5, and actually by this time I'm heavily into homebrew classes and stuff. That's my first foray into the new classes that I have in that 3.5G document, and some house rules. I don't like how you're basically helpless with grappling, unless you build your character to stop grappling. There's just a bunch of stuff that I changed, totally arbitrary. It's just things I don't like, so I just say, screw it. I'm the DM, I don't like it. We're going to do this, and I give them the rules for it. But that campaign was set in Jeff, where they're basically rebuilding Gorna and repopulating it and fighting off the monsters that had moved in the wake of all the destruction. And I think the framework for it was the bridge ceremony, the bridge opening. So there's this new bridge being built, and all the NPCs who don't know, or all the PCs don't know each other. They're at this bridge ceremony, and it's interrupted by some guy teleporting in and a bunch of slod coming in and disintegrating him. And it's like, well, that doesn't happen every day, sort of thing. And then they meet up with some NPCs. There's a dragon and a drow, like really high level, that are running I'm mind blanking on it, where they got to go find little items and give them to one or the other to see who gets the most of the items. So the NPCs are playing, trying to get one group to bring them stuff. And anyway, so that was really good for my railroading style while I send them off to go do stuff, because it's like, we need to find the feather of a giant eagle. It's like, okay, well, let's go find a giant eagle. And Dale was playing a character. Everyone's background was missing people. I just was like starting a campaign, and I kind of just asked people, it's like, what's your general background? What do you want? Because I just want ideas. And everyone was like, oh, well, I'm missing my brother. He was lost in the war. And it's like, oh, my father disappeared going to the Underdark. And it's like, everyone, like half the party, they just came to me and said, I'm missing family members. My mentor has gone away and left me. So I make a story where all these people who are missing are trying to uncover this conspiracy that's going on in the Underdark.
Fungi Munch says, don't forget the stones.
So what
he says, don't forget the stones.
The stones. Tim, type.
I don't know what he's talking about either.
I'm trying to
I see you got your other alternate classes, and
Yes.
I know where you're coming from. I've done the same
Yep.
thing. Your players get bored of the same stuff, and
Yeah.
there are rules out there, and there are tweaks out there you can make to enhance the game with some new,
Yeah.
fresh stuff. I know exactly where you're coming from there. That's awesome.
So yeah, some of the stuff with my redone classes was to kind of address like some power creep, not by like gimping stuff, but instead of like giving stuff to the older classes. And I always hated the concept of dead levels. It's like, oh, I leveled, what'd you get? You got hit points. Okay, great. That sucks. I want something to do. So I tended to fill it up with little, swift actions they can do for different classes. And part of it was, I kind of wanted people to stay in base classes as opposed to, because a lot of the 3.5, it's like base classes is like, just get out of that as soon as you can and find a prestige class, because what's the point?
Yeah.
Clerics were like that. So I gave clerics a power that got additive as they have cleric levels, but it didn't do anything if they took prestige classes. So
cool.
But that was that was the one with the split up druid classes. So the document that has been sent to you with the 3.5G classes doesn't actually have the ones I specifically used in that campaign, because I had done a breakup of the druid into 3 separate classes, and one of them was a non-spellcasting shapeshifter. So if you wanted to turn into a bear and fight people, you weren't going to be casting spells.
So
and then the other two, one of them was one of them was an elementalist, and the other one was like a summoner pet guy. And then I went back when I redid the druid. All I figured out was I just hated the wild, being able to cast spells in wild shape. Everything else was fine about it. So I just got rid of that feat that lets you natural spell. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the one that
I just got rid of that feat because I just hate the, I'm a hawk flying at 120 feet and I'm casting spells onto them. It's like,
that would drive me crazy too.
Stop.
That would drive me nuts.
So, but at the time in that campaign, we actually had a shapeshifter, and we had an elementalist. They were both druids, but one was a spellcaster and one was just this person who turned into giant squid and stuff. So
that's awesome.
But it worked out. It worked out really well. It was a really good group of characters. They were all interesting. The story was pretty good. I thought the story was pretty good. I liked my NPCs in it. Dale can say if he liked it. Dale wrote a little story for his background, and I worked that in.
Louise Wizard, very cool.
Yeah, he was he was like a down on his luck orphan, like living in grad school, who just happened to have an academic bent. And some high-powered guy showed up, and
Davron is his name.
Yeah, Davron, and he gave him basically the coin that would let him into the wizard school in Real Astra.
The Sorcerer's Nexus.
Okay.
And Dale wrote a whole story about that, and then basically he comes back to Keeland with his newfound wizard powers as a first level wizard, and it's like, well, what am I gonna do with my life? And this high level guy shows up again and says, oh, by the way, your parents are in trouble. I got to go save them. But meanwhile, why don't you deliver this to this person? Darcia? She was a scion of one of the houses in the Great Kingdom. Dale, you know which one it was.
Yeah, Nalix.
Okay, yes.
But she didn't know it.
But right, well, yeah, but she was kind of hiding from all her like family and people off in the West, and Dale had to track her down. And you eventually found her.
Yep.
Through a lot of stuff. And the first thing you did was this whole bit. Dale just runs up and gives her the scroll, and he says, I did my part. Like, I'm done with this stupid quest. But that one worked out really well. It was a really good campaign, and I actually had more stuff planned for it, and we just kind of, burn out after a couple of years and kind of stopped it. That was one that I actually really was going to get to 20th level, and we stopped when we were 13th.
12th, 13th.
Yeah, they were going to level after the battle. They were all 12th level, and they fought this Beholder Mage down in the Underdark.
It's hard, man. It's hard to get when you get
and
level. It's tough to challenge them.
The plan was the bad guys in it. There was this drow matron who had been, exiled, who was using her daughter to do her machinations. She was actually the one who was behind all the invasion of Jeff and nonsense. This is mine, so I just made it up. There was a bad guy, Githyanki, who had captured Dale's character's parents, and he was hiding out on the astral plane, and he showed up, and it just so happened he conveniently had this sword that the Kellanite in the party was looking for. So you eventually had to fight this Githyanki general to get that sword, and Ben was perfectly capable of beating this guy. So so there's a lot of big bad guys. So I actually had more material for it, but we didn't get to it. And it's actually something that we could pick up again. And other than Dale's Davron character whose parents are missing, and the guy who's after the sword, literally it could be the whole new party could be different people, because they had actually wrapped up all their arcs. All those missing people in the beginning, they actually found at the very end. So some of the missing people were actually in the battle with the Beholder Mage for him. They needed it too. It was a Beholder Mage for crying out loud. If you've read those.
That one said New Gorn. I have a map for that.
Yes, New Gorna. So I just got out some paper one day and started drawing.
New Gorna.
And this is a city under construction, basically right on the other side of the little river from the old Gorna, which was ruins, which they explored to find
That's
stuff.
how it goes.
It's an awesome map. Yep.
So, thank you. I wish I'd I felt bad when I was digging up some of these old maps, like I didn't label them or anything. I would just draw them as aids for me.
I love the city design and stuff. It's
thank you.
And when you said it was a city like under construction, I really like it. You have like streets that are starting to
because it's not organic. They're making it. There's a market circle and everything's got nice lines.
I get that. That kind of live feels to it. So
right. And one of the things I would point out is, it's like you go into the city and the first thing you notice is it's clean. It's a new city. It's not just filled with trash in the alleys and stuff. Yeah. So anyway, there was a lot of good stuff going on in that campaign, and people got to play interesting characters. The shapeshifter guy was this wood elf from the Oitwood who, there was all this nonsense where the Oitwood elves, they were kind of like my North Korean elves. They just wanted everyone to leave them alone. And, this country next to him, this human country next to him, had been like destroyed by giants and stuff. They're like, just stay out of our forest. We don't care. But they had come up with this plan to remove themselves from the material plane,
Fading lands.
Go onto a demi-plane and just exist in their own little elven place. And one of the story things was basically the drow had corrupted their little ritual that they were going to do with some information. And they had to actually find out that it was corrupted at the first place. Well, they had to find out the Oitwood elves were going to do it. They had a person in the party who I told him at the very beginning of the campaign, I said, Tom, your character has information that should never be told to a non-elf under any circumstances and all this stuff. And he kept his mouth shut literally until they were like 9th level. He literally never told him a thing. And it was a big part of the campaign. And they were like, what's all this stuff going on? And he says, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but by the way, this is going on. So it worked out really well. Yeah, actually, I had a solo adventure with him where he had to, help sway the council of the Wood Elf elders. I had all these personalities for the Wood Elf elders, and he had to talk to them and, try to get them to vote to not do this ritual, at least until they figure out more and stuff. But anyway, the Oitwood has not disappeared from the Flannis. It's still there, thanks to Tom's character, Doranich. So, but it worked out really well. Again, it's something we could pick up at another time. It would be the hardest to probably find. Dale, I hope you have your character if we ever do it again, because
I'm sure I've got
you and Ben have to be in it. You and Cracky the Hooded one have to be in it.
So yeah, that's a good point. So you let whoever's DMing lets them take their characters.
Yeah. So actually, let me make this point. Yes and no. So if they're going to restart it, I would be fine with them playing their characters if they want a new one, just because sometimes people want something new. People love making characters. But what Dale and I tend to do is, if you played a character in our campaign, because most of us don't play with other groups, so it's not like this is an issue. If you have a character in our campaign, your PC kind of turns into an NPC after it's done. So, like the character who was in my
Okay.
Parentland campaign that was turned into, well, he was turned to a copper dragon, so it's real easy to just say, well, you're an NPC now. But Dale took a character of my yeomanry campaign as an ordained champion of Hextor, right, Dale?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dale said, I'm going to take him, and Grenel's going to put him in charge of Knurl as, you know, the governor or the whatever, the guy in charge. And we ran into him in our Saturday campaign, and
With their OP characters.
with our really powerful characters. And it just so happened the guy who played that ordained champion in the first campaign, his character had a meeting with this guy and really had a problem with him, and he cast Power Word Blind on him. But that was a PC in an old campaign that we liked the idea of the guy, and so we just kind of promoted him after a few years to an NPC and used him again. And I've done that with the sister of a character they were looking for in my Parentland campaign. She showed up as an NPC. The Scion of Nalix that Dale was looking for, the campaign that we haven't talked about of mine, they run into her later under a pseudonym. So she's, you know, hiding out doing her thing, but that's her character, you know, that's that character. So we tend to just take the PCs and integrate them into the background of the greater world. And I don't think we've had anyone complain like, hey, that's my PC, I wouldn't do that. Everyone's like, I'm done playing that character.
Yeah, we're fairly cavalier about this sort of stuff, as you'll see in this next campaign also, or this next group. Ben gets behind the screen again.
Right. This
lasted a long time. This is
the guy who ran the Gunmar dungeon. Mm-hmm. So he runs the Return to Temple Elemental Evil and kills all of us over and over again. Is Ben in the chat?
So Brian, literally 7 characters, it says here.
Yes. So literally we had a string of 7 sessions where at least one character died in every session. And the guy the Brian guy who had a character, he was the first of that list. And at the end of the string of characters, his replacement character died.
I'm so glad to hear I'm not the only one who players complain that I'm killing the characters too much.
Yes,
we weren't complaining; we were laughing at it.
Okay.
It was almost like first edition D&D. It's like, I got my dice ready to roll up another one.
Yeah, so we actually joked that, you know, the only way we got treasure was by new characters dying, and then we'd get their loot, divvy it up. So we had a monk in the party who was the only original guy. Well, he was loaded because he got so much stuff from
Master Z in the chat.
Yes, Master Z. He ended up really the most powerful character because he just kept getting all the goodies, you know, when people
He didn't have a vow of poverty?
So
he had a vow of, hey, can you I need that.
He had a vow of getting his armor class out of range of being hit by anything. That was his vow.
So I want to ask Dale this question. How did you end up worshiping Tharizdun?
So, funny story that I had a wood elf cleric of Alona, I think. And
well, Dale, backtrack. Your first character was
my first character was Rue Lulamoon, and Rue went through this big master thief thing and got all the way to this treasure, and then the treasure was a whole bunch of these scarabs that basically he's like, okay, your character loses 14 constitution, and I'm like, I have a 12 constitution, I'm dead. And Glenn's character playing my sister, it's funny, I literally had to cast fire on her to kill the scarabs. I literally had to burn my sister's corpse to keep the monsters from getting me. But Dale replaced it with this wood elf that he's going to talk about. Wood elf cleric. And when we were in the Temple of Elemental Evil, I think it was like the outer part of it or something, I don't remember. We were in some pre-dungeon. There was this weird thing, and it was a dark, sinister room, and there was this black fruit, and my character made the same mistake that Eve did. And I was offered, a great gift if I ate the fruit. And I ate it, and it gave me like a couple points of wisdom or something, but converted me to the worship of Thurisdan. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. So my character got weird after that, but then something happened, and we ran into a deck of, I don't remember. We ran into something that changed my character's race and class, or race and I got changed into a dwarf.
An archway, maybe?
I don't remember what it was.
Gosh.
Maybe Ben does in the chat, but my character got changed into a dwarf. So my character was already insane from worshiping Thurisdan, and then she got changed into a dwarf, and she,
oh my God,
just decided that she was going to be helpful to people, but she still was planning. She's like, I'm going to be the best cleric of Thurisdan I can be, and these guys are helping me clear out the riffraff around the temple. I'm gonna be a doom dreamer someday. And I was so close. I went up about
Dale role played this so well. It was amazing.
I went up about 3 or 4 levels.
Dale is easily
as a cleric
the best
up
pure
Thurisdan
role player in our group, and
in the party. And it was funny because I collected all of these holy and unholy symbols from people we killed, and that was my excuse so that I could have the one I needed to cast spells. But it was funny because there was one time where I put on a cloak because this ogre was casting it, and it was the thing. It was like the thing that kept my character from taking this cold damage they were all suffering, but I didn't know it. I was just trying to hide my cover. And the reason my character died was not because I worshipped Thurisdan, although the party was starting to plot against me, but I was so damn helpful.
Something was wrong, and we were kind of plotting about it, but Mulgar was such a good cleric, and we needed a cleric because these fights were really tough. So we were like, we got to do something about it. And it's like, well, we'll come up with a good time to do it. It never worked out.
And it turned out that this druid had been playing with this. It was like a stone of good luck that was constantly whispering evil thoughts in his head. And one night he failed a cumulative check and became chaotic evil. And a chaotic evil druid is no longer a druid. They are an ex-druid. And
it's just a guy with a scimitar.
It's just a guy with a scimitar. And he was like, okay, well, if I'm evil, I'm killing Mulgar. So he attacked me with this horrible, weak ass weapon. And I would have lived through it had I not rolled like a 2 on my saving throw. And because of that, he killed me. And then he went on and tried to kill his dad's character, the monk. But by then the party was up and on him. And I was like, dude, if you were going to kill me, why didn't you grab the great axe that was hanging on the wall right there?
Wasn't thinking.
And he's like, I didn't think about it. Exactly. And I was just like, man, I hated dying to such a punk weapon.
Yeah.
I was one level away from being a doom dreamer. I was so mad.
Yeah. So we killed that chaotic evil ex-druid really easily.
That sounds like just chaos.
It was nuts. So my character had been eliminated in the fire temple of the, if you're familiar with the thing, my character had been obliterated from existence and had been replaced by a drow. I talked to DM and let me play a drow. And my drow joined the party basically right before this, like, inter-party murder kind of thing. And and I'm a drow, and I'm like, it's just how things go. It's just not a big deal. People trying to kill each other in their sleep and stuff. So
this doesn't sound like the good alignments here kind of dream.
No, I don't. We might have only had a couple of people who professed good. It was just lots of pure neutral peoples, really was. So, but yeah, we were terrible. We missed all kinds of treasure. We had people dying left and right. And that campaign ended where he was going to actually start running us. Well, we ran through the first giant module. We ran through G1, that he had kind of updated at that. So
we've been talking for 90 minutes already. You believe that? How quick this goes?
It's 20 years of D&D, man.
Yeah.
Of 3.5 D&D. I mean,
all in great. So this was an interesting campaign. Tom got behind the screen this time.
This.
Yeah.
So this is early. This is pre everything.
Yes, and it actually
it's minus 470.
Oh, it's
It's
minus
470.
Oh,
Yes.
So
I thought it
this was
double.
back
Okay.
in the Flan Kingdoms, and we started at level 12.
We started
And
at level 12.
he was encouraging us to play dragons and dragonkind. His requirement that we played something long-lived.
Right.
Half ogre, half dragon. Oh my god.
Wait, look at the one above it that
Yeah.
Glenn played.
Half dragon centaur.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Half dragon centaur.
So this was a freak show campaign, and what did I play? An elf.
Just a regular elf. A regular elf who was invisible pretty much all the time.
Yeah, I decided
around with
if
a
I'm
ring
a
of
healer,
invisibility.
I have a ring of invisibility. I'm not going to be turned invisible.
I'll just run around healing people while I'm invisible.
I had one of those plastic invisible minis, and that was me like 99% of the time.
So this is pre-fall of the Soul Empire.
I think so.
That's what Rich says. Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah,
it is.
It was way
470
back,
is a long time
and
ago.
it was.
But we were in the Flannis the whole time.
Right.
We were bouncing around. We were always just going through portals. We weren't actually like traveling overland.
Yeah, we went all over. We were
part of a. What was that group we were?
The Order of Bahamut.
Yeah, the Order of Bahamut, and we're there to stop the evil dragons from doing their evil dragony stuff.
Cool.
Which meant going on missions.
Went to the Barrier Peaks, I see.
We literally went through the Barrier Peaks. I think Tom was just looking for a module that was kind of close in level and said, "Oh, Barrier Peaks." So we went through the Barrier Peaks. So
cool.
And there was something neat there that he had the bag of bones, and he basically pulled out mahjong tiles, and you would choose how many you wanted, and you basically drop them, and depending upon how they lay, which one's up, which one's down, which face is up, all sorts of random effects.
It was like a deck of many things
on steroids.
Way more variables involved. So yeah, that was cool. You know, Tom pulled out this big giant set of tiles. He says, "How many tiles would you like to draw from the bag of bones?" And it's like, "Give me 5," you know, and we'll grab it, throw it out there, and it's like, "Oh, you get this, you get this. Also, this bad thing happens, and something else might happen, but you don't know anything right now." So that was really cool.
And then at the end, we went through another portal, but we got stuck in the portal for a couple 100 years.
Right.
And
that was why he needed us to be.
That's why he needed long-lived races. And so our elves were really, really old. The few of us that had elves, Ben and I, and we were able to do the Rite of the Dragonborn, which in 3rd edition, Dragonborn wasn't just a race that you played. It was like this thing where
it was a ceremony.
Apotheosis. But you come back young.
Yep.
So what was old is new again.
Yeah, it's cool because they tie into the Greyhawk setting in the 3rd edition version of it. Yeah.
It wasn't just like you were born a dragon person.
No.
Walk around with dragon people all day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, we had some of our group. So some of us were still what we were, and some of us, you know, had gotten this Dragonborn template on them, and anyway, and then we didn't play too much longer after that. Again, it was another one of those campaigns just kind of stopped due to various reasons and stuff. But it was interesting playing. Yeah, like Dale said, it was freak show. It was kind of a freak show. I mean, we had an entire encounter that was airborne. We're literally Tom pulls out like a little some kind of fighter jet simulation game and said, "We're going to pretend this is this." So this is going to be how you're going to maneuver, but you know, we're still going to do some like spell casting and attacking and stuff like that. But it was interesting, really was. And Centaur half dragons are actually very good in physical combat. If you want to stat one of those out,
imagine that.
Have fun with that. They're really strong.
And the half ogre dragon also
he was even stronger than me. Yeah, the half ogre dragon with his gear had like a 34 strength, and my guy had like a 30.
Thumpling. That's Gary Julian saying he hates Expedition to Barrier Peaks. That's all that is. So, never heard of
it. And then we started playing a monthly game with Matt behind the DM screen for his first time, Savage Tide, which if you look at when it started, you'll notice a mysterious coincidence on the end date. COVID hit.
Yeah.
Oh,
We had just
okay.
gotten back to Sasserine with our new ship, and we had fought our way to somebody's house and
Yeah, well, we were
killed a bunch of
fourth
people in
level
it.
or something, maybe.
Yeah, we're
Something
fourth
like
or
that.
fifth level.
So
and
you haven't picked this back up yet?
Have not picked
No.
it back up.
his wife's a doctor,
No spoilers,
and they had
so
young
I don't have any
kids,
idea.
and it was just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know that, that's like I said, Ben picked up the DM screen behind a virtual screen. So, but while this was going on, Glenn was also running a weekly campaign.
Yeah, went back to me on DM, and we just kind of take turns.
Pit of Pain.
Pit of Pain. So
that sounds.
I just kind of set the dates, and it ended up being kind of concurrent with the one with the new Gorna and all that nonsense. But they were in Steerage instead. So potentially there could be some crossover, and I would just kind of, play the PCs in the other group as NPCs if they ran into them, and just, we're not going to let them kill them and all this stuff. Just magic that. But it was kind of a lazy campaign of mine, because the other one I put so much work into. And this one I was just kind of waiting for some ideas. So we kind of puttered around, going off, and there was like a dwarvish barbarian, some weird, crazy
barbarian hill people.
Yeah. So, the party was kind of in the script, and I'm just doing stuff. And I finally say, well, let's just put them in a dungeon. I mean, the one interesting thing they did was they went into a wizard's tower in the city of Istavan and went down and fought elementals. It was this thing, whatever. And I gave them these cool magic items that were based on the elements and stuff. But eventually we worked into this dungeon. I said, I'm just going to put them in a dungeon. I can just whip up a dungeon as I go. And I settled on it being an ancient, dungeon temple to Beltar. So it's just filled with all these Beltarian monsters, these classic monsters. It's got, it's got beholders and dragons and demons.
Kudos on the obscure deity there.
Yeah.
It was monsters. It was all about monsters. I mean, this was like throwback to when I was making stuff back in 1982, where it was like, let's just have a dungeon filled with monsters and treasure.
It sounds like,
and it was this classic. They would delve into the dungeon, and it was, it was a series of pits that they had to go down, and then there would be locked doors, and they had to find the exact key. It was all magic, so you couldn't teleport past it and all this stuff. So you had to find the gold key to get through the gold door, and you had to find the silver key to get through the silver door and all this stuff.
Wait. That's Dark Tower.
That's Adventure, the Atari game from 1980.
Oh, that's right. With the dragon.
So I'm going to throw that. I'm going to throw that.
Green and the red and the yellow dragons.
You had to find those 3 keys. So anyway,
that's it.
But it was basically just a really good opportunity to have some really good fights with cool monsters and stuff.
That's cool.
And it was kind of my laziest DMing job, but basically every session it was like, let's come up with some new rooms and stuff. So I would kind of make the levels. I knew where they were going, and so there's a labyrinth level. Oh, I got to make a labyrinth level. And then there's like a slime level, so I have to make a slime level. So I would kind of make these up, a couple weeks in advance, and then they'd go through and spend a few sessions, slogging through the monsters, getting the treasure, and then it's like, oh, we go back to the city.
That's probably how
it was like
done.
Total throwback. Yeah, it was exactly. It was total throwback to how you played D&D back in the day. It's like, let's go into this deep dungeon and stuff. And they got up to about 10th level, I think. Just kind of
that sounds about right.
Sounds about right. And that was another one that was,
and they plotted to keep Treblos Boy Magician age 18 perpetually a virgin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was all this. Oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that. Dale played this, wizard,
horny teenager wizard
who was, had never touched a girl, and there was the drow. Remember, you ran into her, and she says,
and she poisoned me, and then
I'll sleep with you if you let me go.
And then the party told me no way, and they got her burnt at a stake. Anyway,
nice.
Hey, she tried. She tried.
Yeah, you have tough campaigns.
I'm
glad I'm not the only one who have really tough campaigns with stuff happening.
Yeah, it was.
That sounds like fun.
It was fun, and it stopped. And the goal of the campaign, that's not one I'll pick up again.
Hiatus
like I said, there was no story behind it. Eventually, it was going to lead over, through you know, either a tunnel under the, because this was in, you know, steerage. It was some tunnel under the hell furnaces or whatever to get over to the Sea of Dust, and they were going to explore some stuff over there. Because I've always wanted to go do something on the other side of the mountains over there, and I just hadn't gotten around to it. But this was going to lead to that. But I just had fun with this dungeon. It was like, just sketch out a dungeon. I was literally at a Gen Con, and I just had like an hour to kill, and I sketched out this Pit of Pain dungeon, you know, those cross sections kind of thing, where it's like, this is the level of this is the level of this. There's a key to here, there's a key to here. You know, and this monster has this key, and so it was all cross referenced. And the only way it worked was, you know, there wasn't any prescribed path they had to take, so they could kind of go anywhere. So I'm not into the sandbox where it's like, oh, we're third level and we open this door and then all of a sudden, you know, ancient red dragon pops out. I mean, I'm just not into that. So I kind of had to know where they were going to make the encounters kind of level appropriate. So it just so happened everywhere they went was level appropriate. So, you know, that worked out that way. But I think they had fun doing combat and stuff. We had the combat where the thief hid behind the bard who was hiding behind the wizard from the monster. Dale's wizard was like next to the monster, and two of the other characters hid behind it. You're hiding behind a wizard.
We've had that happen.
Hide behind the fighters.
We've had that happen. We had a priest hide behind a wizard once.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, anyway. It was a campaign. It was a campaign of fighting really cool monsters. It's like pull out the monster manual and find something level appropriate, put them in a room with some other dangers and various things. And I actually have a lot of fun designing encounters like that. So
this last one just ended in May of 2022.
Yes. It looks
like.
And that was back to Ben, who ran the Gunmar, and he ran the Return to Temple Elemental Evil. This is the guy who has no problem killing people. And in this campaign, he backed off a little. He only killed a few. So this one is the Barrow Lost King, Sinister Spire, Fortress of Wanti, one after another. Three of those.
Yeah.
Three.
Yep.
Okay.
It was a very late Wizards of the Coast adventure arc that they put together, and Ben saved us from having no D&D by jumping in and running this for us. And
we were literally playing D&D on Roll20.
Because it was all COVID.
Before March was out, I think. Maybe at the beginning of April. Ben whipped this stuff together. And we started playing.
All right, Dale. I didn't hear anything about the Highlanders.
Exactly. Now we have
false advertising. Everyone's going to unsubscribe now.
Yeah.
It was actually I've been I'm developing that for my next camp.
Oh, it's so there. Okay.
And then you were all selling it that, hey, this is where they've been playing for 20 years. It's like, no, that's my next campaign I've been working on.
Okay.
Yeah, with Red Falls in the south. So this is a fairly undeveloped area of Greyhawk. And it's like there's a couple paragraphs about Shalaster and the Highlands in Ivid. And I thought that is fascinating. And that whole area is, and then if you scroll down, it's right in my wheelhouse. It's right next to Knurl and all these other things.
Right. Yeah.
Huskage, and I've got the stuff with Grenell. But he's not a big Hexterite. So I thought, okay, Red Falls is a place that it's not the belly of the beast. It's, it's the cool, right across the river is the Dark Bone March, and you've got orcs to contend with, and you've got orcs coming up from the other side. So that's under development. And I'm working on a new map that so I had a map of Red Falls inspired by that Castle Falls picture that I sent to you with the horseman looking at the thing. And I said, that's what I want my Red Falls to be. I want that to be the keep, and then there's the start of the city wall right on the other side here. Right up towards the upper right hand corner, the start of a city wall. Okay. And so that's Shalaster's Keep, and that one tower that's off by itself on the end, that's the War Wyvern Eyrie.
Okay.
And I like, this is cool. And then I talked with Anna, and we've decided that this is neat because this is where the Tesser Torrent basically stops being wild and woolly and gets a little more navigable.
Exactly, it becomes a river, and it fits in with the geography, and so we I jotted down some notes from that, so I will have that when I go mapping it. So thank you, Dale. That was an awesome discussion we had.
So I'm wrapping the city around to this lower level, so that area where the falls are coming, that's where boats that have come up rivered from the Neural area were at the isthmus of the two, or the confluence of the Harp and the Tesser Torrent.
Did you
go up as far
map? Did you just find this picture from Mark?
I found this picture is by the gifted artist Mark Orzechowski, and I found it, and I wanted to reach out to him and get a print of it, but it's my inspiration. I said, cool. This is cool. This is, I could imagine just beyond where it's kind of the red of the sun's fading. That's the Bone March over there across the river.
Right,
and he's in this
northwest. Yep.
We've got this scrubby highlands, and that's where my campaign's based. And we've got the Highlanders who are kind of sick of fighting with orcs. And then I've been reading a lot of the history of a Song of Ice and Fire, and I was like looking at all these houses fighting with each other, and I said, what do we got with the Torquon, which is mostly where these people were? They actually traded a fief with Garisteth, which is where Shalaster came in. But we got this principality here, but we've got all of these Highlander castles. And their goal for ages has been to fight off the barbarians. And then after the Bone March, they were to fight off the orcs. And then after their, I was going to say their management, all this stuff with TSR, I was like the management. After Gruntle allied with the orcs, they had to fight with them in the war against Nyrond, and they hate them. So it's in Ivid that they just hate them, and Shalaster is against them, and they kill the orcs as often as they see them. So I was like, this is a good place for adventure, because we got the Bone March, we got people who hate orcs, but it's also North Kingdom. They're not good. You're not going to have a whole bunch of elves. There's no cathedrals to Paylor here. This is a very neutral place. So there's going to be a bunch of neutral gods. And if they really want to go someplace with good, Neural's just down the Tesser Torrent. But anyway, that's one I'm developing. And the biggest mystery around it is Greenkeep, which is right there in the north. That is a ruined Highlander castle.
We need to change the map here.
Make it gray.
Yep.
Wah, wah, wah.
So it's
another update.
It got basically exploded, but so to speak. It got ruined according to Ivid, and I don't want to spill the beans too much about what's happening, because I'm developing the campaign for a lot of people that are in the chat here.
Good.
But it's going to be fun, and there might end up being something for the community out of it as well.
That is a great
but
thing.
I'm developing the
history. I'll look forward to that,
because
I haven't played under Dale's DMing since he got that group of ours to 20th level, and
except in Call of Cthulhu.
In Call of Cthulhu, which is different. Which is a completely different world.
I got some maps here we didn't discuss. Let's go over them real quick. Like this Veil of the Dragons here. There we go.
Yeah, okay. So when I first started, when Anna was doing her project, I was starting a campaign, and it was going to be in the Hocock area, with the wild, the dim forest, and there, and all this stuff. And I was kind of waiting for the map to be released.
It took a while for
I know.
to come.
Well, I know.
Yes.
So, you were releasing these things on Facebook and all this stuff, and then coming to my website and all these things and stuff. And I said, I'll just make up my own stuff. So this is just a made up on my own thing.
It's cool.
And the Veil of Dragons was, and they ran into it in a couple of campaigns, both the New Gorno one and the one on Hocock. And it was an area where there was this ancient gold dragon who had this bizarre concept of all dragons living in harmony. And so he let dragons live there no matter what their alignment, as long as they didn't attack each other and be, just mean and stuff like that. And of course, it was just used as a safe haven by the evil ones mostly. And of course, the good ones probably rolled their eyes at this old gold dragon too, because this is nonsense, all right? But it was a safe area, and this gold dragon was also a sage, so they could go visit him. So they would visit him as a sage, and then he would pitch his little pet theory of all the dragons living together in this area. So this was the Vale of the Dragons, and that's what I did. It was basically just to have an interesting little area. They didn't really adventure in it, but they did meet that Milo, the character who got turned into the Copper Dragon. They met him there because they had to find a way under the mountains, and it was through a blue dragon's lair. So the story on that, they ran into this Milo character and started talking to him, and he's like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And it's like, "Oh, well, we're looking for this way into the mountains." He goes, "I know a way." And there's a blue dragon there. He says, "Well, we're not fighting any blue dragons." He says, "Oh, okay, well, I can distract him." And so this copper dragon flew up to like a griffin nest and pulled a couple eggs out or something. And this blue dragon had this little, this little window. He would like look out in the Vale, and he like egged the window. And of course, the blue dragon got hot and flew out after him. And they weren't allowed to attack each other, but he could scare him and chase him. And while he was chasing them, everyone snuck in and snuck through his little passageway. But it was just there. The little map on there where it has Gorna and the giants, they had to find their way through the mountains into the Underdark, essentially, to get to there to meet up with the army that's coming to fight the big giant Nork army that was there. So that's what that map was there. It was just part of the
we did that. We did that lair.
This was the lair that they fought that green dragon in.
Here is this is map to
right.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is
this was the map Ursino gave to
Arsinoe, who is this drow who's in this treasure hunt bet with this dragon who's trying to woo her. They make a bet over like an artifact. Also, there's a deal about like living together for a year or something. These two like old beings that have been around for hundreds of years. But they had to get some information because there was stuff in the Underdark, and they had to go to this Neglix cave. And it's like, well, what's the good way to get there? Well, here's a way. And, she sketches out a map because she grew up down there. She knows all the ways of it, even though she lives on the surface now. So they had adventures in the Underdark going there. And I think is there another map?
Yep.
The John Lee Watts one?
Underdark map.
Yeah. So this was just the general area because they had other stuff to do. So the dark spot where it says Chandli Vots, that's a drow city I made up.
I have that too.
Okay. Oh, I couldn't remember if I had that one or not. Yeah, digging through my old things. So this is a drow city that I had made. I think I used the Drow the Underdark 3.5 source book for a lot of stuff. I wrote up the houses that are competing for each other. One of them controls the temple, one of them controls the gladiatorial arena, another one controls the trading and how they fight each other and rules and stuff. And they did visit the city once, except for two people in the party, the paladin and the elf, who were just way too scared to go there, even though I said, we'll totally just sneak you in one part and you'll be fine. And they were like, no, I'll just stay here. So
yeah,
eventually there was going to be some adventures in the Drow city if they ever got the courage to actually go in there and walk around. I mean, it's your basic Drow city, slaves and demons and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
But they did do an adventure in the Underdark where they fought the Beholder Mage. Anyway, they had to find their way through. I made this system of tertiary passages and primary passages, all the stuff that's in, whatever the
G1 through 3.
Yeah, the G1 through 3 stuff.
G1 through 3,
I made my own little thing, and I think there's a little something goes to the Vault of the Drow, I think, off the thing, So anyway, I can't remember it too well, but this is all set. So the Vault of the Drow is basically under steerage, right? Somewhere in there, roughly, and this is kind of in the area. Yeah,
it's under the Hell Furnaces. Yeah.
So this is kind of in that area, whatever. But they had to work their way down into it. But
that's cool.
Just I get ideas by sketching maps. That's just a good way for me to think of an adventure, is to kind of sketch a map out first.
Yep.
And then think of what they would do. I mean, I do that with dungeons too. I'll just make rooms and stairs and then go, oh, who would live here? Oh, hobgoblins, of course, and plop the hobgoblins.
This one says Temple of Orcus.
Oh.
Okay, so this is just a photo from Dale's campaign.
This was in Rapanathuk.
Okay.
This is in Rapanathuk.
Okay.
So the miniature with the wings, that's my half celestial paladin of St. Cuthbert.
You got your wings
So I'm
back?
getting ready to charge this thing, because that's what I did. I just charged evil things and killed them. I was pretty good at it too.
This was, I can't remember the name of it. This was one of the big bads of the temple.
Okay.
Or of
Yeah, this is
Rapanathuk.
just a photo.
That was just a fun picture, because there were these sconces, and Tom just pops these candles out, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
Before LEDs, before you had the
Dale,
LED capability.
Dale drew the map, and he said, this is where these fires going on, and Tom whips out the tea lights and lights them. So we had the battle under the tea lights.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
And everything that died, we threw it on the fire and said, no, I'm just kidding.
You melted the miniatures when they died.
I can imagine. Look, I mean, we're almost to 10, guys. I mean, you guys, I didn't have to say anything. Mike didn't.
We have to have an episode 2 now. And
we're just like,
campaigns.
Let them talk. This is awesome.
Yeah,
it's great to bring those memories back, isn't it? Just of all the stuff you've done.
Yeah.
When we were coming up with that document, remembering our campaigns, I mean, we spent hours just like chatting about this old campaign. Do you remember it? And of course, half the people wouldn't, and half the people would, and then
that jogged other memories.
It was jogging up memories.
So
there's still some in there that we haven't gotten. You got to rattle them up a little bit more and have them pop out. But
Glenn, I actually have an emote for that. I have a tuna fish sandwich emote for my guys.
Let me see this.
I
see it.
It's because my guys can't remember what they had for lunch that day, right? So yeah, so I understand that. I'll try and bring back a point that's relevant in the campaign, and like they look at me with the glassy eyes, like So it happens all the time.
So that's a wetter race chess expand. In fact, we joke that the best thing to get rid of stuff is Diet Coke.
Oh,
literally, I drink Diet Coke, and I'll just be like, okay, we're done with that, and I'll just pour a little bit out and just wipe it up with paper towel and go home with blue hands.
Don't put a nail in Diet Coke and leave it overnight; it'll partially eat it away. Yeah. So. Yeah,
I ignore stories like that. That's heresy. Just ignore them.
Yeah.
Very cool. So
right now we're going through the crazy 10-player Age of Worms. We just finished or are finished. I think we just finished Eric's part of it, the Whispering Cairn. I think we just finished that. So I didn't read any of these adventure paths because I had hopes to play in one, and I've actually gotten to play in several, but none of them have finished so far. So I have great hopes for this last one. You hear me, Rob? You're not allowed to stop.
And I'm sorry for you publishers out there, but I'm actually terrible about actually getting material. But I hear about things for ideas. I don't necessarily steal them whole cloth, but I'll hear about things. I'll read little bits of stuff in this or that, or in the Cannon Fire Discord, I'll see something and someone will just pop stuff. But I write all my own adventures. I bought some materials, just bought say, oh, here's a dungeon thing, blah 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 blah, and I start looking through it and say, oh, I'll mod this, and it's like I just toss it aside. I can come up with my own stuff just as easily, but that doesn't mean you people who publish still keep publishing if you can, if the Hasbro entity lets you, of course.
So we haven't even discussed the OGL at all tonight, which is great, right? Everything is working itself out with those that we need them to work out with. So I have zero worries at this point. None. Things are going well. Absolutely. With that.
So that was just and I'm sorry. That's just a picture that's a picture that came up, and it's like those. I just wanted to highlight my love of Necromancer games and all of those things.
And
So
I have almost, except for City of Brass, I don't think I have that. I have the book of artifacts, which is that big thick blue book,
mhm,
all of them, too. And I utilize a lot of information. The Relic and Rituals books, you know how much I love those.
mhm.
So I have utmost respect for what Bill Webb, and Clark Peterson and that whole crew did in that era. Mike Merles has an adventure. I talk about it all the time. Durgam's Folly.
Mhm.
Abasor is fantastic. Abasor is a fantastic adventure. And as you can see, all those printouts I just put right in. All the supplements in there. I even have the screen for the character group that I ran through this. And it was a long event. It was good. It was definitely good. Look at that, Lords and Ladies of Fate coming in with a raid.
Welcome.
Party of 11 coming in. All right.
Yep.
So, and in the middle of all that, we still managed to have 2 campaigns that were not
Thank
set in Greyhawk.
Yeah.
I ran a setting in the Wilderlands. I ran
Another raid.
wow.
Who's this?
Classic Sam, good to
Sam.
see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right, exclamation point drawing. I'm giving away some classic Necromancer game reprints tonight. All right, so just note exclamation point drawing. My shout outs, I press a button and they're not working. So the Streamlabs, Wonders of Streamlabs, the auto one's working. That's it. So, yeah, just get in on that. Go ahead, Dale. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying that in between all that, we ran 2 non-Greyhawk adventure or groups. We had the group, I ran them through a Wilderlands game set in the city-state. Shout out to Tim. I know you guys like the Wilderlands too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I ran it in the Wilderlands, not only because I love the Wilderlands and I've got the Necromancer Games giant box set of it,
Yeah.
but
So
I also and their player's guide to the Wilderlands was also good, and I ran them through Caverns of Thracia, which Necromancer put out as well. But I wanted to try out a whole bunch of rules I didn't like to see if I was just being too mean, and I basically decided that I still don't like them. Psionics, Warlocks, a whole bunch of other things. I just like all these. Party ended up being a whole pile of evil necromancers and stuff that were animating minotaurs and stuff like that, and it was just hideous. And then we tried 4th edition when it first came out. We decided to drink the Kool-Aid, and we
played for 6 months easily, maybe more.
Tom got behind the shield and was running us through the Forgotten Realms with 4th edition rules, and we really tried to like it, but I think at a certain point we just decided.
And we're a group who love just tactical combat, but it was like boring tactical combat. There was something about it that was, everything seemed the same. All the character classes seemed the same, and we immediately went right back to a 3rd edition.
Yeah, and we've found, we dipped I ran Fandelver as Flandelver.
That's good.
Because it was in Greyhawk, and I wanted to give 5th edition a try, and we played it, and I think there was a lot of that was interesting and kind of neat, but we still didn't see a compelling reason to change.
Yeah.
And I think we probably have enough 3rd edition material to keep us till we all die. So we'll see how it goes.
I had the same thought. I mean, with my old school stuff, and I use the 3rd and convert it back to 1E2E. I convert all Necromancer game stuff back to that because I love it so much. And I agree, man. Why change from something you love? It doesn't make sense. You guys love 3.5. Stay with it.
I'm playing a lot of Castles and Crusades right now.
Dale's preaching the gospel on Castles and Crusades.
I gave Glenn
he gave me the books and said, do this, and it's like,
check it out. It's like what 3rd edition would be if they hadn't gone back and rewrote the whole thing to have this giant skills engine and levels and kept with the class-based system. So I don't know. When I run Highlander, I'm still on the fence whether I'm going to try to run it in Castles and Crusades and see if the guys like it, or whether I'm just going to go back to my comfort zone and keep it 3.5. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, and I'm also playing in Rich Longitalis's Mayhem campaign with Mike.
Nice.
And
Awesome.
Andy DMs his Call of Cthulhu.
And I DM Call of
monthly.
Cthulhu because I'm a sucker for a good Lovecraft.
And how do we all stay married?
She likes sports.
That's it, my life.
So she's like, you don't need the TV?
My girlfriend's 2,000 miles away right now, so I don't have to worry about that. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a thing. And we've known each other so long, we know our families. My son plays, Rob's sons play,
Ben's two sons play.
Yeah, we actually had a string of like 5 boys born in a row, in about a 3.5-year period. And
my daughter,
they're all in their mid-20s and all play D&D with us off and on. My son plays all the time with us, but
my son plays when we have a kids game together with Tim's kid and Bill's kid and mine, so yeah, we got it. He's 12, so I understand.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick started I would bring him over because he, I wouldn't just leave him alone, and he would come and just watch, and then he started playing someone else's character who had to drop out, and then he finally got his own character, and now he,
it's awesome.
He knows the rules as well as anyone, and he calls us out on them too.
Yes.
he's like, no, you can't do that. Okay.
Lawful neutral rules lawyer, the best kind.
But he's he's unscrupulously honest and willing to, tell us all when we're wrong.
So I know we're running way over time here, but Anna, Mike, any quick questions you have for Dale or Glenn?
I'm just going to thank you so much. This was awesome. So many cool ideas, inspiration, and wonderful anecdotes. So yeah, this is
all right. Thanks, Anna.
Great. Yeah, great addition to the series of my Greyhawk. So thank you.
You guys have done it all.
Yeah.
Been around. That's how it
You'll
is.
be
So
jealous.
many people like that. Yeah.
Yeah. We're all jealous for our campaigns haven't been that intense, that long, so to speak. It's awesome.
That deadly. I mean, guy with 7 characters. Wow.
Well,
yeah.
Well, that
was just in a row.
Yeah, that is so funny.
It's like...
That is awesome.
He's on his 3rd character in Call of Cthulhu too.
Yeah,
that I can understand. I'm like, gosh.
Yeah. Dale gets to get his revenge because surviving in Call of Cthulhu is just basically the entire campaign. Is the challenge is to just not die or get turned into something, and Dale just, whatever. Dale's killed 5 people.
I don't think I've killed that many, but we have had some go insane too.
Well, that counts as killed, basically, going insane.
It's a lot. I can see where that would happen very frequently in that game system.
Well, in the Call of Cthulhu campaign, my character actually got body switched into his wife, and then one of the people in our group shot my original body, so I'm actually in my wife's body now. It's a Cthulhu thing. We just do this stuff. Anyway, if you ever talk to him, he can tell you how that happened. It was fun. I'll tell you that.
You've been drinking too much, Gary. Multiple Assure. So, any final thoughts, Dale and Glenn, on this? Thank you for both coming on. Thank you for all your players and friends being in the chat.
Yeah, we're glad. And this is our normal game night. So thanks, guys, for we gave up a D&D night to do this. That. No, it's fine. We've given up nights before for, people are busy, stuff happens and everything like that. But it was nice for all the people that popped in and did their stuff. And
that's funny. Yeah,
we're so, I don't know, blessed or whatever. I don't even want to use that word. We're just happy that we have people who are people we've been with, gaming with for the longest time, and we can either reminisce or make new memories with them every week. So
yes,
that's it. Definitely playing with your friends, and family. It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah. And as you know, I hang out in the Cannon Fire Discord and Mike's blog and all of his information and Anna's maps and all of her lore, and we sit there and often chat way into the night about this stuff. And
too late.
Anna's heard more about the Highlander stuff, and Gary Holian has probably than Glenn even
Oh.
thinks to guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's
you're keeping
great.
stuff away from me, so intentionally. So
Yeah, but
Right.
that was wonderful discussion because that was cool world building that I think you benefit. It will definitely benefit when I get to that area and map it again, and already added a bunch of stuff on the latest edition of the map and the atlas. So yeah.
Okay, I'm all done. If you've got shout outs to do.
So Anna, okay,
Yeah,
we
go
do
ahead, Jay.
we do a boatload of yours on Friday. We're so
Sure,
late on time because
exactly.
we got Fancy Mapping Show.
I just have two very short things to
Go for
say.
it.
That my second post on the my stance on Open D&D and the whole debacle is coming very, very soon. I'm just going to read it through again and make sure I haven't screwed up that much, so to speak. It will be a little bit more on me and my map making and stuff going forward. And I've noticed that there's several Greyhawk creators have had their kind of view and wondered what should we do, how should
Joe
we do
Block
it and stuff. So
especially, yeah.
exactly, Joe Block especially, and I really respect that. And I need to I should reach out to Joe and discuss it too. But I'm putting my thoughts into how I think we should react and my kind of 2 cents into the discussion, so to speak, and kind of take it from my perspective how I think I want to go forward in this, so to speak. And then the atlas is coming out for everybody. I'm going to upload it to the website tomorrow, so the 598 2022 atlas will be available for everybody. I'm sorry it took into the 2023 before that happened. So that is coming out for everybody, being uploaded, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff we can take on Friday, and we should take it on Friday because then we have 2 hours to babble about it. So yeah,
Awesome.
and I'm going to send Jay a new a topic for the fantasy mapping show.
Okay.
WTF? Yeah. Exclamation mark, question mark kind of thing.
Okay.
We'll see. That was. I'm good. Tease Alyssa and see if she's in on that. Yeah. That was my thing. Yep.
Mike, anything you would like to shout out?
Well, good times hanging out with you guys. All I got is a new blog post.
Awesome.
Ooh.
New quiz for you. So put on your thinking caps.
Greyhawk module quiz. Nice.
Oh.
Very cool. Awesome.
Good luck.
I'll mess with
I
that.
have to say
later
one
on
thing.
tonight.
I had lunch with Earthscribe yesterday, and it was awesome. I just wanted to state that if he's on, that was fantastic. So I haven't thanked him yet. We had a wonderful chatting. Met down in halfway. He lives in Irvine, and I live on this side, so we drove halfway and sat for 3 hours and babbled Greyhawk and gaming and stuff. It was fantastic. Awesome. Yep.
Glenn, thanks for sharing that with the community, the class list for 3.5.
Oh, you're welcome, Jay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna drop those.
Everyone
to
help
the Cannon
themselves
Fire
with
Discord
it.
because it's just a really interesting take. There's another raid. Wow, they're coming in tonight.
Tabletop Misfits, welcome. We do have one giveaway, exclamation point drawing to get in on it. We're going to do that as soon as I'm done shoutouts. Yeah. So you're going to drop that in the Cannon Fire, right?
Yeah, I'll go drop that in the Cannon Fire Discord now, and somebody can either pin it or not. In which case, you might have to scroll back.
This is for tomorrow on my table. So this is meant to recreate something you guys may be doing soon. So isn't that wonderful? Tomorrow night we start adventure number 986. The adventure group Iron Fury encounter Blackwall Keep. That's the third in the Age of Worms series by Sean Reynolds, and that's in the north of the Mist March, Blackwall Keep. It's on down this map, and that we start that tomorrow. It's probably going to run 3 weeks, that adventure. So that is tomorrow. I got 5 streams of 5 straight days, everyone. Friday night. Well, this title may change.
Well, it's half joking, but I think it's kind of appropriate because I think we will have to, since we're going into creation and stuff. I think that will be, at least there's some issues we should probably talk about a little bit. So yeah,
Fantasy Mapping Show is 8 o'clock. Okay, on Friday. Myself, Alyssa Faden, and Adam Meyer. No special guests this week. We're just going to be the 3 of us this week. Saturday morning. A Battletech stream. Battletech for beginners with the Praetor's Rejects. And Rob Phantom's jumping in. We had a cancellation, so he's going to jump in. He's a newer player in the other group, so I'm going to let him take the 4th spot. So it's going to be a very slow-paced Solaris 7 game. So Saturday is the NFL game, though. This is Saturday. This is at 9 o'clock in the morning, Tino. This is not anywhere near that time of those football games. You think I'm going to miss football? Think I'm going to miss the Eagles crush the Giants? No. So yeah, this is not a Saturday morning. Yeah, I plan all my stuff around and plus, yeah, I got it. And then the week after that, well, we'll get to that. Then we got Jason Nelson from Legendary Games, the Legendary Alpha from the Great Net Spellbook on Sunday.
Oh,
Gavin.
looking forward to that.
Yes,
Yep.
that's going to be awesome too.
Mm-hmm.
What's coming up the week after? The next Legends and Lore, Living Greyhawk, Jeff Meta Orgs. How's that sound? Sounds
Cool.
pretty interesting.
Love to have Living Greyhawk folks back. It's fascinating, those stories.
Casey's putting that together. We will have one also, I think, on February 15th, another Living Greyhawk one, but this one is scheduled for next week. Big things coming up after that. Our next Slav Squad game, Saturday, January 28th. No football then because it'll be the championship games. That'll be on the 29th. So, see? Schedule it around all the football. But the Slav Squad is back with first-time player in my campaign, Heather Hex. So the Slavs will continue their way in Ancient Evils. And it'll be in Selene. This will be a Selene adventure. That is a week from Saturday. And then, of course, the big monster, is the fundraiser, Legends fundraiser. Look at all the channels involved in this now.
Wow.
almost 24-hour coverage over the 3 days. The only gaps I have are 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. on Friday night and Saturday night. We got stuff running from 8 a.m. on Friday all the way through to the wrap-up show on Gavin Sunday night. So, yeah. And a ton of sponsors. I'll have a sponsor banner out, too. We got a lot going on. Please, if you can consider donating. We need to surpass $20,540 this year to beat last year.
Good thing for you, I just got a big raise.
Nice.
Good. Now you know where to spend it. Yep.
And I'm gonna sneak. I'm not gonna show you the pics, but wait till you see what Building Master Crafter is working on for puppets. I think I'm gonna call it this. And here's the puppets and then some. You can, if you know what that connection is to, then let me know. But I think that's what we're gonna call the adventure that I'm gonna run. Puppets and then some. Yeah. So fun times. All right, let me do the giveaway here. That works still. I thought Curtis would get that right off the bat.
Good luck with some good necromancer stuff, folks.
Yes. You get your choice of 2 of these 3, the winner. Atlas Thor, the Book of Taverns. I think you should get the Crucible of Frey because it's the introductory adventure.
That's a really good adventure.
Yeah, so, I think that's what we'll do there. So, yes, bachelor party, Nick. Yes.
Someone got it.
Foot long and then some. Yes, you got it. There you go. Curtis is always right on for them. Yep. Nice. I'm not. All right. I baptize. I can't. I'm not allowed to have tattoos. There's 3 things in the world my wife will not let me have. One of them is a tattoo. That way, I can't go over what the other. What is allowed. So.
Yeah, the only people sticking me with needles are medics.
Yeah,
and Red Cross people.
I would love. Yeah. My wife would kill me. Yes. Good luck, future winners. Here we go. Okay. Giveaway. Closing it out. Tonight's winner is Baker. There you go.
Oh,
That's Baker. There you go. You tell me what 2 you want. Yep. I know you're here. Absolutely. Crucible of Freya and Abastor, both fantastic adventures. Sound good?
That's an amazing combo.
Yep. All right. Gotcha. They will go out. Shortly. Everyone, please stay on. We're going to raid into Stella. She's running a Greyhawk game. Stella Luna. I'd love to go in and raid in with 100 for her. For Glenn and Dale. Thanks. That was a blast. Hearing all the stories, that was wonderful. Really appreciate your time tonight.
Well done, guys.
All right. We'll see you all tomorrow night.
My absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Jay, Mike, Anna. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank
you, audience, for hanging in
See you
there.
later, Glenn.
And I'll see you tomorrow night, 7:30. Start a little Age of Worms Part 3. I piecemeal them way out. Just
Rob, I won't listen. I'll lurk though, Jay.
Yeah, lurk. That would be awesome, man. All right, setting up the raid. Setting the raid up here. Thank you. Thank you for the kind words, everyone. Thank you for all the raids, too. That was awesome. Almost 100, 94. I can live with that. That's
Wow.
awesome. 5, 4, 3,
Yeah.
2, 1. See you tomorrow night.